Okay. Peace, everyone. Peace, YouTube. Peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. This is FleurBrun coming to you today with some disclosures. Check on in. Peace, peace, peace. Hello, 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 Earthlings. Hello. I can see you on here. Can you guys see me okay? It's a little bit of delay, so I kind of see your comments after. Hey, Teresa. Hey, April. Hey, Delmashe. And yes. Oh, thank you, Delmashe. Yes, I am drinking cafeine. A big pontage to everyone. But I do have water to balance me out. So I've got my water. So check on in. We're going to discuss the Greys, the Kzarian Greys, the Molocks, the Deros, versus the Ethujian Alliance, the Mers, the Negas, and of course, the Apeians. I just made that term up. But you know, the Apeians. You know what I mean? Check on in. I'm going to wait until we get to our numbers. I hope everybody's doing well. We'll kind of talk about some of the things that are going on locally. We'll talk about the progress of the pole shift. We'll talk about the dark cabal, which is the Kzarian Greys, their cronies, and we'll talk about their agendas and how um, it's unfolding. So I hope everybody's well. Um, I hope the weather's better. We've got a lot of things going on in globally, right? Especially in the United States, because United States is ground zero. We're going to talk about, we should probably speak about that now before we start, right? We want to talk about the fact that America is ground zero. It is the original Kemet, Egypt, whatever you want to call it. The most pyramids that you'll ever see are in the Americas, but they won't let you know that. That's why all consciousness is stimulated, usually from America. That's why a lot of people watch, and the influence of America is so big. It's like being in a big stadium and everyone's watching us. So, and that's when people come, um, oh no, Mama, I don't do any mushrooms. I won't touch mushrooms since we have too much radioactive radio waves and also radiation. Remember, we talked about mushrooms being a kind of fungi, and I don't know that you want fungus in your body right now with all this rogue electricity and radiation. Because remember, the big C, no, I'm not a doctor and not a nurse, but is a type of fungi, in my opinion. And it grows with radiation. Radiation in it is kind of symbiotic. Look at Fukushima, look at Chernobyl, and look at what happened with the black mold that was on top of the facility. It actually was eating the radiation, making it grow. So I don't mess with any mushrooms. This is just my thing. I won't give mushrooms to my family, especially not now. And that's why they push it so much, because they want funguses inside of people. Fungus is among us. We'll play some music. You know, it's so unfair that YouTube won't let us play music. Because I always have a theme song in my head. Hey, Chimoji. Hey, AJ. Walk like an Egyptian. Walk like an Egyptian. Recording. Walk like an Egyptian, right? So America's ground zero. So that's why a lot of events are always being focused. Every country focuses on America. Right now we're not looked very well upon. Hey, hey, Oracle. We're not really looked very well upon right now because of your Orange King, who is actually now head of the Kzarian Greys, even though he's a tall white alien. He comes from the tall whites. They claim him, but he is ran by the Kzarian Greys, the Molocks. So we'll kind of talk about that. Unfortunately, um, because he's being ran by the Kzarian Greys, a lot of things are happening that normally you wouldn't see happen. So they chose him. Every president is chosen. No one's selected by us. Even though they give you this whole fictitious concept, oh, go vote, and oh, your votes make a difference, and they do all this campaigning, they're all full of ish. They're full of it. It isn't true. I wish it was. So because of that, it's all a stage. And we're living in a holographic system. So everything is projected as if it's real. Okay. There's a lot less Sims in this part of after the fake eclipse. Should we talk about that too? Another fake eclipse. Big up to the zombies. A couple of zombies realized that the moon was in the wrong part of the sky again, just like the last fake eclipse when they said there was going to be a sun. What was that in March and 20, what was it, March of 2024? That big, huge so-called eclipse that went across America and made that weird A shape, which we found out was like a Jewish symbol. Okay. The Aleph, what was it? Aleph, the Aleph, Alef, correct? Remember that? Fake. And it's not, when I say fake, y'all, I just mean it's man-made. It isn't a celestial event. They'll project it to us, they'll propagate it as that, but it's man-made. And they push it because probably they're doing rituals to coincide with the fake event, the fake celestial event. The same thing with this. The moon was in the wrong part of the sky. Again, it looked like something out of Jeepers Creepers. Did you even see how it turned red? The moon, it didn't turn red for you. We have a picture. We were on Zoom. So yeah, it turned red. It was a blood moon and means they probably did a ritual. So, when we count down the ritual, I have the dates. Usually rituals, what is it, 7 to 9 days? So, we're going into Aries season. Wait, is it Aries yet? I think the 20th, right? The 20th is Aries season. So they're probably kicking off a war. Don't be shocked that because it's a fake event, it's a projected event, they're probably doing multiple rituals. You got people being possessed now. Did you see the guy in the plane? And he swallowed the rosaries, a brown guy. He said the demons were bothering him. He grabbed his sister's bun and wouldn't let go of it. They had to cut her hair and he swallowed the rosary, saying he's being possessed on a plane. Yo, it's real, y'all. Ever since the Pope from hell opened up the gates of God knows what, there's like mad, it's like Ghostbusters. All these beings are flying all over the place, like in like impregnating people's bodies. Okay. I'm just saying. Walk like an Egyptian. I'm so corny, right? Anyway, we're not going to discuss that today. We could go into the fake celestial events as long as you want to, but I just want to mention that I don't believe anything they project. Everything on television is a lie, or it can be partially true with a lot of misnomers. So you have to be very careful what you listen to, and also be mindful of not falling into the algorithm of whatever's being promoted. Just like with mushrooms. Mushrooms were probably healthy for people for so many years. Nobody pushed mushrooms. All of a sudden, now that spores of mass destruction are being displayed all over the place and super seeds are showing up in people's bodies after everybody took the blah, blah, blah. Now, they're promoting you to eat mushrooms and psychedelic mushrooms, and everyone is just falling for the okie doke because a lot of people are socially conditioned, socially engineerable. I mean, if you aren't that way, be careful of your people around you that are easily convinced by ebb and flows of social media. They're easily manipulated by social engineering. Okay. Um, I'm just saying, oh, like the movie Last of Us, Kay said it. Remember the movie Last of Us with the mushroom people running around zombies that are fungi zombies? They tell you what they're going to do to you. We're in a simulation. The simulation will always give details of the actual agendas. But most people aren't listening to it because they just think it's a movie, or they just ignore it, or they're too busy watching Super Bowls with a brown ball in between men's legs with spandex, putting it through a hoop, a square, the end zone. They're too busy watching balls all the time or drinking spirits of mass destruction. You know what I mean? Are we at 500 yet? Because I'll go on a tangent. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Zoom. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. I think we might be at 500. Are we at 500? I think we are. We're close. Okay. So let's start it off. So we're going to talk about the Kzarian race supremacy, which many of you and I are experiencing, versus the Ethujian alliance, the Mers, the Nega, and the gorilla ape beings that are in alliance under the Ethujian Council. So we're going to talk about that right now. As many of you know, we have a ship. The Mother Hubber ship is here and on site, y'all. How do we know? Is because of all the weather anomalies that are coming along with having a huge mothership that's hovering over the entirety of the underneath the firmament over the entire globe. Many of the lights, excuse me, the blinking lights, the lights that are showing um blinking and like outdoor lights outside of stores, people are having a lot of blackouts. Cuba had another so-called scheduled blackout. Venezuela had a so-called scheduled blackout. I think Australia had a brownout. Big up to our sea stars in Australia. We had several people that had so-called scheduled brownouts in the Caribbean and also in South America. So all of that is purposefully done so you aren't realizing that there is another phenomenon that is here. And oh, thank you, Ken. Ken's. Mwah. Thank you for my donation. Many of you don't realize that all this is happening, and they're doing that to kind of hold your attention away from what is really here. So what they'll do is they'll put things out there to distract you and make you think that it's scheduled when really there's phenomenon happening because a huge mother hubby ship is here and beings are on site. That is also why I personally think we discussed it. Many of you, I would love your opinions as well. Talk about the fact that perhaps some of these fires are because they're trying to burn out areas. Remember when Trump made this whole big stink about national parks? Why would he care about national parks? Why all of a sudden would a president, doesn't he have bigger fish to fry? Worried about national parks? You know why? Because many of your Sasquatch, your ape beings like Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yetis are all in those national parks, along with a host of other beings in there, especially from the elemental realms. I know that he's focusing on it because we have beings on site and he is trying to smoke them out. Now, many of you we discussed before, many of you we discussed before the fact that there were these orbs that were showing up. Now, we're going to talk about how it interrelates to the Molockians, the Greys, the Khazar Greys, and the Deros. We're going to talk about how it interrelates with when those orbs showed up, their reaction with the drones. Remember, what came first? The drones or the orbs? The orbs came first out of the waters. That's why you're hearing a lot of controversy, and you're hearing a lot of information about the Mer family, about the mermaids, the mer beings, because that is starting to resurrect in our consciousness because they are part of the Ethujian alliance. The Ethujian alliance has many different types of sectors of beings that are here and outside of here, but the Mers, which I know for a fact, the Mers and the Nega, along with the Apeians, which are like the Sasquatch, the big Yeti, kind of like those beings, they are all under the Ethujian alliance. So when all of a sudden the orbs came out of the water, there was a reaction from your governmental grays, your cronies from that you think you voted for. They reacted with these super huge drones that they never told you that they were manufacturing. Did you know that they were manufacturing drones that were as big as a bus? Was that something that your government ever detailed to you? It's amazing to me that you think you're voting for these people, but they never ask your permission and never disclose the things they're doing with your vote, with their position, and with the money that we all give through our taxes. How are we paying taxes and there is no disclosure, no transparency as far as where that money is going to. We're taxed on our groceries. We're taxed when we go shopping. We're taxed when we purchase something. We're taxed when we get paid. We're taxed when we have our savings, and it's our savings and we take it out, and we're super duper taxed. So all these taxes are going to all these different agendas and activities, dark op and otherwise, and they aren't disclosing. Shouldn't we have some form of transparency? It's kind of like you're being ruled by an oligarchy, but they're giving you a false feeling as if you're having some say over it. I mean, Fleur, you got yerked by a gray and a reptilian CW, did you? Okay, so we'll talk about that too. I hope that didn't happen to you, but if it did, we'll discuss that. And some ways that you can kind of mitigate any sort of attacks by these disgusting parasitic beings. Okay. Because we'll talk about the Thule Society that's also connected to the governmental grays. We'll also talk about, the what do you call it? What's it called? The things that go in your eye. We'll talk about them too. They say it's a worm that goes in your eye, but it really goes in your butt. And we'll talk about that as well. Okay. So, we're speaking about the Kzarian grays, which are likened to be the Molocks are in that category, and also the Deros. The Deros are those beings that are really pasty. They've got those big bulbous noses, like elephant noses. They were really like Jabba the Hutt. Do you guys remember seeing Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars? Or the beings like the what do you call it? The Barons from Dune, really egregiously unnatural. They had like folds of like fat, like really blubber like. They had bulbous features, like really bad skin, pasty. They look like something, when you lift a piece of bark and you open it up and you see like these white worms. That's what they look like. They look like white worms. Okay. That's what these beings look like. That's their original form. Now, how they were able to come through the Caucasus Mountains and take over parts of, at the time, Prussia, and overcome those societies and end up, because really they're from Ukraine. That's what the whole PSYOP, like I can't, I can't really talk about that. But anyway, they're really from that region and from underneath that region. Now, how they were able to overcome, we have I have theories about that, because whenever you hear references of the Deros, historical references to them, they always show these weird spirals as if they're taking over people's minds. And you have to think to yourself, the Deros, the Kzarian Greys, have taken over the entire globe. How could they have taken over every government without some form of technology or some kind of intense mind control that they're able to overwhelm a human mind and being able to project themselves and to be able to have people entrust them? Now, I know that some of the things that the Deros do is they tend to impersonate other groups of people. So whenever they come into a society, they look at certain groups of people, and if those group of people have some sort of control or power or influence, what they do is they get close to them, befriend them, act as if they're helpful and really just want information or just want to, be friends with them. And then they take as much as they can from them. That's why I don't agree with shamans, taking people from other countries and showing them really intense meditational practices and very personal, very intricate personal rituals, because all they do is they colonize the information, and then once they gain enough, they will destroy the originators. That's why they're killing off all the Semites all over the place. What do you think that's happening? Because the Deros have gotten all the information they needed to be able to propagate and colonize and make sure they take on the identity of the ones that they've taken their information and destroy the originals. It's like saying, here's an original and then you have a copy. The copy can't ever be a true representation of the original because it's always going to be second best. But if you get rid of the original, the copy can be easily perceived and received as an original if others don't remember what the originals look like. Just it's very likened to what happened in the Americas with the native indigenous. Even the imagery of the indigenous look more Asiatic, more Eurocentric, but we know from archives, and thank goodness, my particular tribe kept verbal and oral archives, and we have images of ourselves. I look just like my native indigenous people. Still, we didn't get as infiltrated, but in the Americas, especially North America, Central and South, there was a lot of infiltration of the indigenous. And because they took over and colonized those, oh, thank you, AJ. Thank you, AJ, for my donation. I appreciate it. Because they took over the originals, they changed the imagery in books that they present to you, saying that they're native people. That's why they call them Native Americans and they don't call them indigenous, because they aren't indigenous. Their natives could just be someone born there, and that's all that truly means. Indigenous is somebody whose core, whose base, whose origins are original from there. Okay, so that's how they were able to do it in the Americas. But personally, I know for a fact it was the Deros, this dark, bulbous nose, these elephantitis type of beings that were able to take over all of the regions in Eastern Europe, and they're still recovering. I hope you know. For some of you who don't know historical events, I mean, Germany, big up to our German family. Germany is still devastated by what those beings did over there. Not only did they create a psyop, like the super duper psyop that we all repeat in all the historical accounts, you know what I'm talking about. Not only did they create the biggest psyop ever in this particular cycle, they were able to perpetuate the psyop by demonizing the German people and assassinating them perpetually, just their nationality, making them question themselves, making them be vilified by everyone globally. That's crazy. But that's what these Deros do. They basically go into a society, find out who has the greatest value, who has the strongest and most powerful information, who has the most influence, and then they perpetrate and infiltrate that group. They start merging by mating with those groups to bleed in the bloodlines, so they start to liken, physicality, because their physicality is very interesting. So they start to take on some of those qualities. And as soon as they get enough, like they take over political parties, they take over all of the educational, they are able to infiltrate their own practices and rituals inside of the mainstream of whatever that culture is. Once they get deep and basically clamp on, like the parasite vampires they are, they will destroy that society from inside out. So I'm sorry for what happened to you guys in Germany. I want to acknowledge that. It's very sad. And for some of us who are aware of the historical events, I just want to say, on those of us who are awake, we're very sorry that you've had to go through that. We know what that is because in the Americas, those vampiric, dark, worm, the gelatinous, disgusting, depraved, elephantitis beings, they did it to us. And what's going on now with our governmental structure is that is why our government is doing and acting and behaving on as they are. So I know many of Europe is very upset. France has asked my francophonic famille in France, big up to France. Salut, salut. My francophone family in France has asked for their, for the Statue of Liberty to be given back, because they feel like America is not the land of the free anymore. And they feel like they are not, representing themselves as a nation of freedom and patriotism and of liberty. So France is asking for their Statue of Liberty back. And why is it called Indian giving? You ever ask the question, like they always say, oh, you're an Indian giver. You see how they talk about our people? Big up to the indigenous in here. from Creek Nation to the Chickaw, to the Cherokee, to the Iroquois, to the Awaka, to the Neowican, to the Carib, to the Taino. Big up to my indigenous people. They are so nasty. They say if you ask for something back that you gave, they call us Indian. They call that Indian giving. You see how they do that? My God. Anyway, France wants the statue. It's a France for being bold. Listen, I talk about my Francophone people because I come from that bloodline, but I gotta give them props because they got balls, along with freaking uh uh Ireland. I love a country that doesn't give a F. That they will come and for righteousness, even if it makes them look a certain way. They don't really care because it's about their integrity. France has that. People, even though they're a little saucy and a little wild, France is about that life. They're wild. I come from French people, so that's and they wild. Same with the Irish. The Irish were saying something online. I respect the people like that. Who else is like that? Kenyans are like that too. Kenyans and Nigerians have a little bit of that undertone too. I respect the people who are like, screw y'all. South Africa's like that too. That's why South Africa's like F you and all your governments, because you heard how your Malachian king, the orange man, had told South Africa, you're mistreating South Africans. First of all, those are colonizers. They're not even from South Africa. They were over there killing, pillaging, taking all the diamonds and gold. Who's selling the diamonds and golds? It's the Malachian Greys, the Deros, who are selling gold and diamonds up on in all these places. And now he's feeling bad because they're being removed from the colonized places where they stole all the land. How are you gonna come into another person's land and take up 90% and 70% of the properties? These colonizers have they have some balls. You're gonna come into an African country, not even have the complexion for protection, and say that you're native. This is what the Deros do, y'all. And when I talk about complexions, y'all, you got to remember, we're talking about a different species. There are different species within the Greys. Even though the Greys generally like to infest Eurocentric areas, there are brown people, blacks, that have some gray connections. So don't get it twisted. Don't sleep. Don't think that because they look brown, they good for your town. Those are the ones that'll infiltrate your communities worse. The brown ones that are dark into these gray and infiltrated by the Deros, those are the ones that kill off their own and start, perpetuating themselves as the others. So don't think that because someone's brown, it takes them off the list of the Deros and the Malachians. No, no, love. They're deep-seated in that. Where do you think you get the boule from? Oh, I want to ask, big up to our Darlene. Big up to Darlene. She's our amazing agricultural specialist. That's what I think she is. And she has chickens. Give a big shout out to Darlene. She's so wonderful. She has chickens. Her male chicken, I think his name is Cutie. He's being really aggressive right now. I think the frequencies is messing with him, or he's just being a nice masculine rooster. But she was saying that she has a sorority card, and I wanted to ask some of you, on her sorority card, her card was changed to boule on the outside. I don't know if Darlene's in here. If Darlene is in here, can you please let me know? She showed us the card. The card actually on her sorority card. Any of you know this? Did any of you get this to sororities? I think this could be associated with the melanated sororities. On the end of her card, it never used to say that. It says boule, y'all. They're being bold. The boule are part of the Malachian sector. The boule are part of them. That's why I say, do not think when I talk about the Deros, the Kzarian Greys, and the Deros, that I'm specifically talking about non-brown people. The boules are part of that sector. They're not part of the other sector. They're under the tier of the Kzarians, of the Greys, of the Dark Kabbalists with the Deros. That's that sector. Did anyone get their cards? Can any of you state that for our AKs, our deltas, our zetas? if can you let me know, and you don't have to, just let me know if you got a new card and it says, because hers says Boule at the end of her card, and that's for AKA. So let me know. I think that is mad brazen. They're just letting you know now because we're at the end of the cycle. So let's talk about these gray overlords, okay? We have a gray supremacy, y'all. Roosevelt sold us out, and Kennedy was killed because of that supremacy that was sweeping over. Remember, the Deros didn't have full control over the Willy Wonka. They didn't have full control. They had to gain control because there were still people that were working on behalf in the government at the time that were still working on behalf of the people. And when Kennedy went in, he was willing to offset some of their power because these are foreigners. Remember, they're working as a foreign agency, and now, well, you know, the United States is totally taken over by the Molockian Greys, and all of the Deros have taken over. If you go into the government now, you'll just see their symbol all in there. Okay. And they cannot be part of the government now if they do not have a handler that is part of the Deros, the Kzarian Gray Deros. Okay. So it's very interesting to me that this takeover, which happened right after Kennedy was assassinated. Now we haven't heard, remember, your Orange King, your Kzarian Orange Moloch King told you he was going to give you the disclosure of the Kennedy assassination. But interesting to me that he said that 50 million times, but have you heard a peep out of your Orange King? Can you see your Orange King? Did he give you any information? Because y'all voted for him. I am opted out of the Hunger Games, the Purge, the what's the other one? The Handmaid's Tale, the Walking Dead. I opted out of all those programs in this holographic system because those are the ones that are projecting and, you know, generating these agendas. But your Orange King said that he was going to disclose the Kennedy assassination. He couldn't do it. You know why? Because it has all the Kzarians all over it. Is he going to discuss 9/11? You know why he won't? Because those dancing Kzarians that were celebrating when American people were killed and assassinated in their own city by their own people, they were dancing, singing. People noted it. They were shipped over to the Kzarian 0 point landmass. Okay. How come he hasn't talked about that? Because you know why, y'all? He's one of them. And all of that wonderful money that your Kzarian king took on his behalf to make sure that he and his family wouldn't be nicely comfortable after the pole shift, that is why he is only doing the biddings of the Greys. And because remember, he's tall white. He's under the tall whites claimed him in 2016. I remember when Rudolph of Germany said he's one of the tall white aliens. And remember, not only is he part of the tall white aliens, do you look at his son, Baron? Baron, and you don't think it's odd that his name is Baron after the Dune Barons? If you ever watched Dune, watch the original Dune. You have to watch the original Dune. And if you watch the original Dune, and you see a lot of what's interrelated now in our governmental system, it will bug you out. But his name is Baron. He is tall. Now, mind you, Trump is very tall. The other children by his first wife are very tall as well, right? They're all very tall. It's not that he's short. What is Trump? Like six? What is Trump, y'all? Is he like 6'4", 6'5"? Can someone tell me, do you guys know Trump's height? I think he's very tall. His new wife is not that tall. She's in some sort of insectilian. And according to some of the trans investigators, she's a whole man. Okay? I can't say that. I can't vet that out myself, but you know, her jawline is very interesting. But I know the people who grew up with her. One of my daughter's friends, mom grew up with her in a little town in Sylvania, I think. So she knew her. So yeah, you could never know. They could have replaced her too, right? Okay. Trump is very tall. Oh, is he 6'2", 6'3"? Thank you, Subi. Subi3. Okay, he's like 6. He's pretty tall, right? But Baron is like a super giant. Do you see him? He looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. He's a very handsome young lady. Oh, man. Oh, that was a Freudian slip. You said I said young lady. He's a very handsome young man, just like X's. That's from the Bioborg, Muskie. His little cutie pie Damien. Ooh, Damien. If you've never seen the movie Damien, you're gonna see that little cutie pie X that was in the Oval Office being reckless, picking his nose in the Oval Office, all kinds of disrespect. You can't teach your little son because you're a Bioborg. I guess you don't know any better. You know, picking your nose and telling people that they're not the president in the Oval Office, you don't think that's an offense? And then publicly displaying that for everyone to see? Woo! Oh, Baron is 6'7". Yeah, he's a good looking kid. He's still young, but he is obviously a tall white alien. So they claim him. Okay. So obviously there's some sort of agreement that the tall whites have made. And I don't know if you remember, y'all. I got to bring some of you because you're not from the UFO, because you know a lot of people here are coming to my sector, but you're not from the UFO community. Those of us who've been about this life, if you remember the congressional hearing, can someone find that and put I would ask, I know I'm asking you to do work for me. You don't have to, but can someone find the video? I think it's 1956 or 57, or it might be 62. I don't remember the date when they did the congressional meeting on behalf of the tall white aliens. Do you remember that? Y'all, listen. Just because you came to the block, you spitting in the block, you haven't been on the block a long time. If you would have watched that congressional meeting, when I talk about because I remember years ago, this woman's like, oh, you were so mentally ill, you're schizophrenic, there's no such thing as tall white aliens. Mother freaker watched the congressional hearing when they were talking about the tall whites and how they were concerned they were taking over the government. Can someone watch it? Can someone share the link if you can find it? I don't remember. It was like it's in black and white. For those of you from the UFO sector, you might have it on your hard disk. So if you could just drop the link, if you still have, they probably took it off YouTube. Okay. Watch the congressional meeting when they're talking about their concern about the tall white aliens that were taking over. Okay. So when you're saying that there's no such thing as aliens, oh, I beg to differ. And I beg to differ that your government hasn't spoken about it. Just because you're younger or you're not from the sector of UFOs doesn't mean they haven't spoken about it publicly. They have. Just all of the times they spoke about it was in previous years, not in the more recent years. Now when they speak about it, it's more cloaked. They'll make things up like SpaceX. What did you create SpaceX for? What kind of defenses do you need if you know there's nothing out there? It was for the Ethujians that they knew were coming on deck. And that mother hover ship that they're concerned about, that's why they're acting a fool right now, because they're trying to do things quickly, because everything that's on site is going to dismantle a lot of these Molochian grays and these goddamn Deros that took over the whole freaking planet like parasites under a rock. Okay? No, it wasn't in the 70s. Someone got to find the video. If no one can find it here, I'm going to try to look for it and I'll share it later. Okay. I'll share the video later. It's very important. I've shared it 50 million times. It's probably on my Patreon, but I'll share it again. It's really intriguing to listen to their conversation about their concern about the influence that the tall white aliens had in their, I guess they were talking about in regards to the government. Okay. And remember, if you remember the whole concept, not the concept of what Roosevelt did in selling us out, Roosevelt made an agreement with the Greys. And do you know the story of Roosevelt actually speaking to these Greys, and they actually extracted him, transported him, teleported him to go have a conversation with them, and he signed an agreement. That is why there's all this harvesting, because after he signed that agreement, that's when you started to see all these cow and animal mutilations. The mutilations of the cows and horses happened super duper after that agreement. And also he was given a certain percentage of the population that they were allowed to experiment on without their knowledge. So he sold us out. Roosevelt sold us out. Okay. And what Kennedy was trying to do was get us out of these agreements and also disclose to the US society, to really the globe, the infiltration of these beings that were already ingrained, intertwined within our governmental systems, not just America, globally. Okay? So it's very important that many of you go back. Remember I told you last time, because you thought I was hating. Let me kind of clear that up. There isn't any hate that I have towards any other YouTubers. The issue I have is when new people come to a sector that has not been popular. The UFO and ET sector is very close-knit and it's very small. Those who've been a part of it have been a part of it for years. They did not just wake up one day and say, oh, I want to talk about aliens. The only reason I spoke about it is because some of you will come on that are newer to it. And I have a little bit of an ego, and I'm a petty patty sometimes. You cannot come to me and compare me and say you're like another YouTuber that I know is just coming on here to make some money to take care of her lifestyle. I don't care that she is, but don't compare me, because then I'm going to be a little petty patty and just tell you that people that came 2020 and after talking about UFOs and ETs, they're not authentic. They watch videos, they read a lot of books, and they just mimic other people's content. And that's just what it is. It's 1000%. So I wasn't being a negative. Well, it's a little negative, but I just want to verify, because people are like, oh, well, it doesn't matter who I'm talking about. I'm talking about all of them. They weren't about this life when you were being stigmatized and demonized. Like, I was called any name under the sun for talking about things that are connected because I'm a contactee, talking about UFOs and ETs. That wasn't a popular thing. It's only been popularized because they want to flood the system with non-authentic beings, so you can't find authenticity in it anymore. They want to flood it so you get confused. That is a CIA, FBI tactic. Whenever something is legitimate, they want to flood it with non-legitimacy so you can't tell the difference. So you're swimming in muck right now, not knowing who is authentic and who is real. You can't. And then when you monetize, there's no way. Those of us who came on before monetization, that came on years ago, that were already contactees, if someone's a contactee and they're in contact with beings, it's not going to show up just within the last 2-3 years. They would have been like that for many years. You're going to see that their links to them being involved in ET things or interested in it, it would show up before. That's all. So I just brought that up. And I am a petty patty. Do not compare me to newbies that come on that just watch a host of videos and mimic other people and are cultivated by dark child traffickers, allegedly, that are cultivated by child traffickers who spit out and progenerate people so that they can spy on people in the community. I see it. Okay, so let's go back to the Ethujians. Now, while you're hearing a lot of information about the mermaids, is because the Ethujians are here, and a lot of the councils and meetings that are being had under the water, under the sea, a lot of this is being had under the waterways. That's why they're trying to demonize mermaids and bring up the most negative parts of mermaids. Oh, we're eating mermaids. You know why they want to do that? Because they want to destroy any positive things about the MERS. So it kind of links your mindset to something diabolical. These mermaids, these aquatic beings, are beautiful. They have very much the propensities of the human beings on land. They have their own alliances. They live in different regions underneath the oceans. They have some of the different propensities, like the avatars. They have different propensities, different looks. They have their own councils, and they're under the Ethujian council, the Ethujian hub that many of the other beings are under. So they are now being brought up because they have a participation in the evolution and the destroying of those who have taken over all of the land masses, which are the Molockians and the freaking Deros. Okay, when I bring up Molocks, you do know that there's a meeting that happens in California at the Grove. What is it called? What is it called? The Bavarian Grove? What is it called? Can someone share the name again? It's called the something Grove. Remember they have that meeting every year? Can someone, let me see if you guys. Bohemian Grove. Is it called Bohemian Grove? I think it's called Bohemian Grove. Can someone confirm that? Bohemian, thank you, Oracle, Bohemian Grove. You do know they worship a big owl, right? So let me bring you back. For those who are not part of the UFO sector, let me school you a little bit, which is kind of fun because you'll like this, because you may not be able to tie things together because maybe it's just, maybe now you're awake to other beings being here. Maybe it's not something you've been connected to, so you don't have pieces of the puzzle. At Bohemian Grove, they worship a big owl. You know that, right? A big giant owl. Do you remember the movie Fourth Kind? Does anyone remember the movie Fourth Kind? Let's see if you guys remember the movie Fourth Kind. Put a put a put a put a say yes, or just say if you remember it. I don't want you to have to put a number. Okay. Okay. Yes, thank you. Yes, Divine Being already is on it. Okay. Okay. Okay, the fourth kind in the movie, if you haven't seen it, it's a little scary because they put biographical um uh filming next to reenactment right next to each other. It's really freaky. For some of you who really get spooked easily, it's not a movie, I think, and definitely the little ones shouldn't be watching that. So if you have young children, so if a lot of you saw it, good. A lot of you have young children. I suggest if you watch it, or if you get spooky, don't watch it. I can tell you some details of it now so you can avoid it. It's very disconcerting for those who are not aware of contactees, which are more abductees. Okay. If you notice, they don't talk about abductees anymore. They're purposefully doing that to hide what the Molockians used to do and still do to this day. Okay, so in the movie Fourth Kind, they denote that the owl was what people would see when they were about to embark on engaging with a gray alien, is they would see an owl. Now, some of you who are from the UFO community know that a lot of times when your brain doesn't have the capacity to visually witness something that is outside of your dimensional spectrum, it may allow for you to see it as something else, like an animal or a bird. Okay, but usually with creatures like the grays, they will cloak themselves as owls so that people don't get as frightened. Okay, so they can engage with them without startling them. Okay, it's holographic. It's a hologram that they do. They present a hologram of a gray, of an owl. Now, sometimes other grays have been denoted to Native American tales. I think the Cherokee talk about this, maybe the Blackfoot, maybe the Choctaw. They talk about the grays presenting themselves as deers or does. Okay, like really big eyes. It's really because the eyes of the grays are all black. And that is part of the startling part. So sometimes, like I've known Native Indigenous who talk about seeing does, deer, that they knew, like the shamans knew they were grays, okay? And there was some interface there. But in the most recent years, ever since Roosevelt made the agreement with the grays, you've been worshiping grays. Okay, that's why you don't realize that all of the aliens used to present themselves as green with antennas. Do you remember that? Does everyone remember that? Some of the younger demographics may not. X and above, you should know that. Maybe some of the millennials. When we used to see aliens back in the days on television being presented to us, they were presented as little green men. How come that has changed? Am I blowing your mind yet? How come that's changed? How come they used to be little green men with antennas, which were insectilians? And why now are they being presented, yes, the kazoo, why are they now being presented as gray beings, little gray beings without the antennas? Okay. You don't think that's a socially engineered thing? Why when you go to Area 51 and all the places, all they do is show you grays? That's because they want you to worship them. They are gray beings. They are after the agreement and after the agreement of Roosevelt's agreement and treaty made with the Greys, all you started to see was a perpetuation of gray beings. Go to Area 51, go to all these places, you won't see green beings anymore, little green men. Even the references in movies in the 50s and 60s and 70s said, oh, we got visited by the little green men. That's gone. Now it's only grays. okay? Because he made an agreement with the Greys, and that's why they're perpetuating and giving all this paraphernalia and propaganda, because they want you to fan the Greys. The big Moloch that is worshipped at the Bohemian Grove is the worshiping of the Greys. Greys have supremacy. The Kzarian Greys have supremacy on all governmental systems right now. Okay? All of them. Okay? So this is important for you to know as we go further into the discussion, because we have a domination of a so-called alien species. Now, when we talk about Greys, if you've seen a lot of my videos, like over the last 12 years or 11 years, you'll know that I talk about Greys. There are also Greys that are organic, and there are Greys that are inorganic, like biologically created Bioborgs. Physical skin. And big up to the Zombies. I had them watch the movie When the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves. Really good movie. If you want to watch it, put it on your list right now. Yes, they were. Marvin the Martian is a Centaurian, is a Moor, is a Moor. The Marvin the Martian is a Moor. Okay? A Moor. When we talk about the Moors, he's a Moor. Okay? He's a Martian. That's why skin is black. They tell you who the species are here. They tell you in the cartoons, they tell you in the shows, but let's go back to When the Earth Stood Still. Do you guys remember watching When the Earth Stood Still, what Keanu Reeves was wearing on top of him when he got out of the ship? What did he look like when he got out of the ship? Does anyone remember? We're doing like a Q&A today. Does anyone remember what he looked like? Yeah, Marvin is a Moor. Yeah, he's a Moor. Adamor. That's why it's a love. A love is Adamor. Okay. Do you remember what he was? Yes, Lucinda. Go ahead, Lucinda. Lucinda got it. Okay. He was wearing a gray biosuit. And that gray biosuit was worn to protect him against all the elements on the planet, because we're like disgusting. They spray us with bioorganisms, little fleas, right? And in that movie, the fog, when we talk about the little nano fleas that Delmache showed on film, we had another sea star, Gina, who filmed it on her ring cam. We had other people who presented what was in that fog, these little nanites, little metal things flying around like fleas. That's why people had weird kinds of coughs and sickness all in their chest, because it's all in them. And then remember in the movie, when Will Smith's son, Jaden, was such a cutie, y'all. Oh, he's such a cutie pie. Oh, it reminded me of my son. Oh my God. Wasn't he a cutie pie? Did you guys remember? Oh, what a cutie. He was in the movie too, When the World Stood Still, the most recent one. Now, When the World Stood Still, there's a 50s version as well. It would behoove you, if you watch movies like that and it's remakes, to always go back to the original, because you're going to get gems. Okay. But in the movie, right? Magellans, right? Era was talking about Magellans. That's right. The little nanites, fleas, because it's in the movie too. And what happened when it got into Jaden? Jaden got sick. And what do you say? He's dying. Drop it. Okay. So I would definitely watch a movie. I just brought up Keanu Reeves wearing a gray suit, a biosuit. And when they cut open the suit was just a biological protective shield, like how astronauts wear, astronaut suits, like their suits that they wear to protect themselves in space. They've never been to space, y'all. That's a whole psyop too. The moon landing and everything. This is why I say these nasty bastards are out of control. They're just like, that's what I'm saying, y'all. We got to be careful what we listen to and what we hear. We got to go to our solar plexus. That's why they mess with our gut. All your truth is in your gut, right? So when you go deep into your gut, that's where your truth is. That's where your true mind is. That's where in your solar plexus, that's why they mess with our stomachs. Because when your stomach isn't right, your intuition is off. So your gut is where you hear truth, where you feel it, it resonates. You ever get something like, you don't know what's going on. It's like, oh my God, I got butterflies in my stomach. Where's that coming from? And then you find out something happened later, or like when something good's about to happen, your stomach gets like really happy. Like you get everything from your gut. Okay. So in that movie, you definitely will see a representation of gray suits. Now, if you watch my videos, why I was bringing that up is if you watch my videos for many years, I talk about the gray suits that some ETs are wearing to protect themselves, okay? Nothing is coming on this planet down from any other dimension that is not wearing something, a suit of some sort. Even when I asked you to watch, now you got a couple movies. You got Fourth Kind. Don't watch it with the little ones. If you get skeevy or you're really a scary person, don't watch Fourth Kind. It will mess with your peace of mind, and I can't help you. Definitely watch War of the Worlds and the world when the world stood still. These are movies good to give you references, okay? And then when we go into what was I gonna say? Another movie. Gosh, I was talking about Grays and Under the Skin, which Scarlett Johansson. Under the Skin. Write these movies down, y'all. You will love me for me sharing these with you because right now it's all becoming relative, right? These are all preamps to the new things coming. Okay? If you don't watch the warnings, like Us, the movie Us, talking about there's replicants of people underneath the ground. I mean, is it us or they? Yeah, it's us. So seeing that there's clones of everyone underneath the city that the government was creating and they were muted. Get Out, telling brown men that they are being used for their organs and that other women of other nationalities want to mate with them because they want to take them over. They all tell you what's going on. And I also think that it's not even that in Get Out, there's another species that's here that may look lunar. That's what I'm saying. Be careful because some of you don't know that there's grays all over the place. They're infiltrated in everything. So what, like, remember Rudolph of Germany, the tall white alien, big up to Rudolph. He mentioned this years. Remember the little girl online? She's big now. Her name was Greta. Remember she used to do TED Talks? Do you guys remember? Oh, they cloned Tyrone. Thank you, love Sylph. Thank you, Pixie. Clone Tyrone is another one. You need to watch that one. Oh my God, that's a good one. That tells you not to mess with the drinks in church. Because big up to Dero. Wait, I gotta remember things. I'm giving you things off the rip, y'all. That's why it's good to be with someone who's been on for a long period of time. I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to other people, but the reason why is because I got an archive that's long because I'm part of this community. I'm not coming into it like brand new. I got references for days. Okay, so remember, in Clone Tyrone, that the hair stuff was infiltrated for brown women. All the hair stuff. Remember the chicken of mass destruction? They were in there getting high off chicken. Remember that? The Daryl, big up to Daryl, who's part of my Zoom group. Daryl came on saying that if they wanted to, I didn't know this. Did any of you church people, right? Did you know that they pre-make those mosquito in here? See, it's probably one of the nanos coming to infiltrate me. Walk like Egyptian. Wait, he said they make pre-grape juices, like the wine. I was raised as a Catholic. Everybody put their dirty mouth. They just wipe it with a cloth. Everybody put their dirty mouth on the shallot to drink the wine. I'm surprised no one got herpes. Maybe they did. But they used to. But Daryl said they pre-make the juices for church with these little, like schools used to make them like juices, but they're little ones, and they have a cross on it. Did you guys know? Do you guys know that? Did you guys know that? I didn't know it because I don't do church like that. You didn't watch Clone Tyrone? Oh my freaking gosh. You gotta watch it, y'all. Lunars, it may be harder if you don't come from a brown American community because the verbiage is it's a lot of, this message is for brown people, just really. But Lunars, you would definitely get the gems from it because it's all about inception. But Daryl from our group talked about the little juices, the communion juices that get there. He said if they wanted to infiltrate anything, they would put it in the juices. And if you watch Clone Tyrone, the grape juice was infiltrated. And remember, the whole city had tunnels underneath it, the brown city, and it was like a beta test city. Y'all, you got to watch that movie. Remember, he was talking to his mama every day through the door. He didn't even know he was a clone. And he wasn't the only clone. It was like beta test cities with all these clones. He was passing the door talking to his mother every day, and it was a freaking recording. Remember Grace Jones? He was like, hey, mama, you want to come? Oh, baby, I would. It was a freaking record. He didn't even know because he was living in a loop because he was a clone. He was a replicant. He didn't even know, y'all. If you watch Sigourney Weaver in the Aliens movie, when she became a clone, y'all, there's so many references. Anyway, I'm getting excited. Big up to everyone. Please put a like and Danny on it. Because I'm going all over the place. I got so much to say. Woo! I would watch, y'all. The hair stuff had stuff in it. They were infiltrating the whole community with psyops, controlled by the CIA. They had a laboratory and they had a whole bunch of tunnels, governmental tunnels underneath the ground, monitoring everyone in the town because it was a beta test city. Y'all, drop the mic. Okay? I'm telling you, you gotta watch. You gotta watch. They tell you everything. They'll give you the warnings because we're living in a simulation. The simulation is not trying to trick you. It's a simulated system. There's a bunch of parasitic viruses in here called the Molockians. I don't know where they crawled underneath a rock from somewhere. They probably came from the inner. I personally think they're subterranean. They may have come from another dome and they tunneled their way. They're like moles. They look like moles, big rolls and so on. They're like moles. And then the grays are some sort of inorganic thing. Now, the grays could have been created by the Kzarian grays, could have been created by the Kzarian Deros. Because remember, we talked about the grays are sometimes non-biological. So who's to say that? That's why I put in the group the Kzarian grays, Molocks with the Deros, right? Versus the Ethujians, the Ethujian hub. Okay, because I actually think they're one and the same. I think that maybe, now I don't know this. This is a theory, and I have to really just vet these things out. You know, I have so much information in me all these years, and I was under the tutelage of Dr. Dero Blair, which is amazing elder who was a contactee way longer than I was born. I've been a contactee since birth. My birth is a contact experience. Me coming here was orchestrated and preempted by the Andromedans. Okay. There's a whole story behind my mother being in a building that was bombed on the 13th floor, being exposed to radiation. All the women walked down in the building in New York and we're all bleeding. All of them got their periods that same time after the radiation hit on the 13th floor. How could a whole bunch of women all get their menses at the same time after an event happens and it's not denoted? This was a huge explosion that happened on the 13th floor of the Chrysler building. I think it's not the Chrysler building. Melissa's here. She remembers. Because we got the time frame and everything, and no one talks about that. That was a terrorist act that happened in the 60s, and all of the women got their menses right after the bombing happened on the 13th floor. Walked downstairs and they all got their menses. You don't think that's by chance? That's before I was born. I wasn't born in the 60s. Okay? That was years ago. So things like that happen. There's a lot of preamps that happen when certain beings come in. Okay? So I've been a contactee from birth, from before I was born. Okay? And that's why it was always a little different, a little quirky. That's why I was always very interested in the UFO. I've been a part of the UFO community probably since I was a child, because I was watching Buck Rogers, Star Wars. I was already thrust into it and interested because that's who I was. Okay. You got to hear my mother's account of it, though. And you know what's crazy? She didn't remember it until I was talking about something, and then she remembered it. Almost like they blacked it out of their memory, right? Why would that happen? Why was there a bombing on the 13th floor? Everyone had to walk downstairs, and then all the women were bleeding, having instantaneous menses. Like, why? Were they trying to abort certain babies? Or were they trying to, we don't know. These are all theories, okay? So when I have a theory about with the Kzarian Greys, this is a theory. I actually think that the Deros created the Greys as another group under them. this is my thought. I can't vet all these out. I know that they're subterranean, but I don't know that they're necessarily from this dome. They could have tunneled from another dome, which we know now all the domes are on the outside during the last reset. When there's a reset, there's a lot of vortexes and stargates that open. That's when you see beings moving from one dome to another. So that's where you get reintroductions of other species coming into this dome, because all the other domes open up through vortexes or stargates, and then groups come in, new groups, or they're purposefully fed in here, like some sort of like game. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Angel. Thank you. 777. FleurBrun mentioned beta cities. Is that why the babies being born 2025 and beyond are now called what are they called? The beta generation. Angel, I didn't know that. Holy cow, that could be why, Angel. Angel, I gotta write that down. Angel, that is awesome. I didn't know that. It could be why, beta generation. Because, yeah, could be. Could be. Very good. We got to look into that. Could be why they're named betas. Why they're named betas all of a sudden, the new generation. I don't know if that's a good thing. Beta also means like a lesser, not lesser, but this sub-tier. Or it could also mean testing, like a test tube kind of thing. That's a good one. Thank you. Uh-oh. FleurBrun, do you believe in Jesus Christ? You're gaslighting me. You know what? I had a whole breakdown of what I perceive that is. I'm not gonna do it today. You can hold your Jesus today. You shouldn't ask me questions like that. I shouldn't even read it. I think that was meant to like gaslight me, to take me off of because I go on rants on that. But I don't want to mess with your peace of mind. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Just watch my other videos. Remember when Coach Carlson talked about Jesus Christ not being sacrificed and having children? Oh my God, the Christians came for him. I don't really care, because if you're here as a Christian, you're here woefully. Really. That's all. I just, I'll leave it alone. I'll go on a tangent. I'll leave it alone today. I don't want to mess with you. Because you asked me that question already lets me know where you are consciously. I wish you well. Anyway, so when we talk about the grays, I actually think, again, certain things I know and certain things I don't know. It's just, I theorize things from being part of this world for a long time. And it just makes me think that wherever the Deros came from, they might have had some sort of technology and some abilities, and they took that with them inside of this dome, and they geoengineered the grays that they have everyone worshiping right now. Okay, like grays, it's their prototype. I actually think why they want us to worship the grays is because it's like their greatest prototype. They created it and they want everybody to worship it. So they're sub-tier, all the Masons and the what do you call it? The Scottish Rites, all these occultists underneath the Molockian system, they all worship that. Even when you talk about Masons, the Masons all practice all forms of Kabbalah. All the Masons are practicing Kzarian, ritualistic practices, right? If you look at all of the Masons, all of the things they do, the clothes, the robes they wear, the rituals they do, it's all Kabbalah. It's all under the Jewish Kabbalah. You ever go inside of a Mason lounge? It's like walking into a Jewish synagogue. You don't think that's by chance? Okay. I'm just saying. You could vet this out yourself. So that in itself, I think that Deros created the grays. The grays that are here that are being worshipped. That's why you go to Area 51, you see grays. And anytime you talk about aliens, all people talk about is grays. I don't trust anybody who's in contact with grays. Because all of the people that I've known that had contact with grays, something's wrong with them. Usually if it's males that have, and I've been a part of this community for a long time, y'all. So this is not me making things up. This is what I know. I'll tell you what I know is things that I theorize, because not everything I know. But I will know that I know this. All of the men that I know, especially men of color that have contact with gray, something's wrong with them. They're either alcoholics, they're dark, they do bad things. They usually have something, they're just not good people. Just because I'm just archiving all of the brown men I know, because remember, I've known a lot of men, especially brown men. Y'all may not know those people from the sector, but I do, because I'm a melanated woman. So I'm going to know because I come in contact with abductees and contactees because I'm in that sector. But all the men I know that are brown who've had contact with grays are not good people. And that's why I wouldn't trust anybody in the boule. The boule is definitely a segment and a sector under the Kzarian grays, under the Deros. Okay, so they're all from that tier. So they're all brown, lighter and darker shades of brown. That's a boule. You know that, right? And a lot of your so-called celebrities, they're under the socially engineered system of the boule that is under the hub of the Kzarians. Okay, the Masons, the Scottish Rites, the what do you call it? What is the other one? The Jesuits. They're all under that sector. So I don't trust them. Like I've known brown men. One was a straight up alcoholic. He was a drug dealer. The Greys, he loved the Greys. He said they were his friends. There's another one online that y'all all know. He's in contact with Greys, but he's been connected to things that are very dark and he's very materialistic. And he comes from that sector that's from the celebrity sector. Then there was another one I know. He was a straight alcoholic. He had a lot of he was the one who actually slept with the reptilian woman whose eyes shifted when she went into an orgasm. Like he was having sex with her and her eyes actually shifted, a brown woman. He was having sex with her. And when she went to go into orgasm, her eyes shapeshifted into a serpent and then flash back. Because usually with reptilians, they have a hard time holding their form when they're really excited, either angry, sad, or sometimes like elated, like sexually aroused. Okay. So, you know, really in itself, you know, you got to be careful with people who've had contact with grays. Now, there's a weird combination of brown women. I don't see it often. I know lunar women have had contact with grays. Not all of them are dark though. That's why I don't know, but it doesn't mean that there's something about them that the grays that's more nefarious. I can't vet them out the same because they have too many different personalities. And women are different. Women have a tendency to cloak their dark ways. So you can't always like, I know women, brown and lunar, who've had contact with grays, and you can't always tell if they're dark because because in society we're judged so harshly for our Lilith kind of, you know, behavior. So because of that, they could be dark women and they just cloak it really well. That's all. But based on the men don't really hide it because they're living in a world where they have home court advantage. So they don't really hide their dark things because they haven't been consequenced. So they can be who they want to be and it doesn't, you know what I mean? So I could see it clearer. Women, I can't say. So, yeah, you know, normally I say I know, but with men, yeah, the men are dark. So I don't trust anyone who's connected to the grays, who've had contact with the grays. I don't trust them. I wouldn't have them around my children. People who are chipped by the grays, I don't, because if their DARPA has chipped them, that's part of that's their whenever a DARPA or the governmental grays chip you, it's because you're theirs. They want to watch you, but if they chip you, governmental grays, or you're part of DARPA, and they have you wired to their system, it means that you're under their technology. You were either geoengineered, you're a mud flood child. Who's to say? You know what I mean? And blood types might match that too, because remember, they preference O negatives. Negative roots is preferenced under the Deros and the Kzarians. So negative roots is prioritized and preferenced. That's why all of your presidents, generally all of them all have negative roots. Now, I don't know what Kennedy was. Does anyone know what blood type Kennedy was? I know from documents that all of, including Obama, because Obama is not a brown man. I don't know why you say that. Whatever your mother is what you are. Obama was birthed from a lunar woman from their sector. He's genetically from them. So they just give you a little color to make it seem like he's something connected to the other side, but he's not. He's a byproduct of the Kzarians, regardless how you flip it and, put it. Okay. I think he was AB negative. I think he might have not been O negative. I think he might have been one that was an O negative, but he was still a negative Rus. So I don't know what Kennedy was. If I had to bank on it, by his demeanor, the things he did, he's very positive Rus in behavioral patterns. But again, Kennedy did come from a bloodline that was connected a little bit to them too. So I don't know. Was he O negative as well? Oh, he was O negative. There we go. He was too. Okay. That's why they preference it. Why would they? And also why they preference O negatives, y'all, because they're part of the hive. Negative Rus has access to a mind hive, like some insects do. It's a hive mind. So they all have access to the information in the hive. Now there's a hierarchy in the hive. So I liken that certain bloodlines that are more vetted or geoengineered have access to more protected information than the others underneath that hub. So, but they all have access to the hub. You ever talk to O negatives, especially the melanated ones? The melanated ones have more intelligence. That's what makes me think at the very top that the ones that are very top are highly those the black lords, the dark lords. Those are probably all negative Rus. Because when I talk to brown negative Ruses, they have so much intelligence, it's insane. And it's not negative, but they're drawing from the hive information. They can get it. Like I talk to a lot of negative Ruses. The brown ones, compared to the lunar ones, they have more access to the information. That's why I think that there's a brown group of diabolical black lords that are ruling over here, and they make it seem like the light ones are the ones ruling when really the dark lords are the ones they worship. Because the brown ones that are negative Rus have more information access, makes me think genetically it's because they have darker skin and they have access to those other beings' information. I could be wrong, but I just pay attention to that. Negative Rus has information to the hive information. Okay. That's why they preference. That's why during cucarachis, guess who didn't get cucarachis, y'all? They say it's an RB, it's what's that H something B gene pool? What's it called again? Hold on, let me find it for you. Okay, it's the K26R. The Ashkenazi Jews have that. The K26R gene were unaffected by any governmental bioweapon, HIV, and COVID. It's called K2. And why was the drug called K2? Was it called K2, y'all? Remember K2? The K26R, I have it written down. Their gene does not get the bioweapons of allegedly AIDS and cucarachas. You don't think that's by chance? And they're all negative Rus. Wait, somebody else said JFK was O positive. Can we find this out? We'll find out. K2, right? So even the drug called K2, the Kzarian, and you heard what they're putting in the Ozempic, right? Yeah. Yeah. Am I going too far? Am I on too long, y'all? I'm gonna have y'all on a goose chase. I'll have you paranoid. You guys okay with the information I'm sharing? Because I feel like I'm doing too much. I might be sharing things that'll just mess with your peace of mind. If you want me to stop, I'll move on. Because I was going to tell you what's inside of the doctor, what's his name, talked about the actual venom that's inside of Wegovy and Ozempic. Y'all, that's why I tell you, why are you engaging with these creatures? They don't like you. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. They do the crip walk. Y'all need to stop. If you didn't take the Kukirachi shot, why would you take the Ozempic and Wegovy? Like, you don't think that if they can't get you taking one shot, they could get you to take another? Come on now, y'all. I would hope you're smart enough. Oh, JFK was positive, Bruce? Yes, honey. That's why they killed him. And that's why he wanted to tell the truth, because he wasn't part of the hive. It's not, I'm not laughing that they killed him, but I'm saying it makes sense. Y'all, they got lizard venom, allegedly, according to this doctor. I'm listening to a physician. They tested it because, we got the Kukarachi squad on deck now. They tested it. They got lizard venom in it, y'all. They got reptilian venom in it. The other one was cobra venom. And this one is, why are you taking it? Just be chunky like me. Accept your chunk. It was all a bunch of radiation anyway. We're just bulking up. We're becoming like puffer fish to protect our organs. Just puff up. Screw it. As long as you can walk, you're not rolling. If you get a little rolling if you get a little roll, you may want to slow your roll a little bit. I mean, keep the chunk. Keep chunk alive. Keep chunk alive. Keep chunk alive, y'all. Oh Lord, they got reptilian venom, lizard venom, and you put it in your body and wondering why your stomach is getting paralyzed, why you lose eyesight. Y'all, you're slim and chunky is sexy. Listen, y'all, it is what it is. They just want to get it in you. Like a guy who's trying to have sex with you, they just want to get it in any which way they can. Okay. I'm sorry. The big back. What'd you say? You said you're a big back. My daughters told me that term. That's a crazy term. I don't like that term. Big back? That's crazy. What does that mean? Like your back is fat? They're just demonizing you because they want you to participate in paralyzation of your stomach and your gut. And what do we talk about? Where is all of our intuition? Where is it, y'all? In our gut. That's the Kzarians, y'all. The Kzarian Greys, the Molockians, the goddamn Deros of mass destruction. I blame them. Y'all are participating with them. Why are you engaging with these Greys? They want everybody dead or subjugated under their rulership. We got a whole oligarchy. We got a whole Bioborg whose son's name is X, who's Damien. Go watch Omen. Damien, Damien, Damien. Go watch Damien. Little X, that cutie pie of mass destruction. Oh, yes. And he was with Trump going in the private plane by himself. Why is Trump taking on the Bioborg son like that? Why is he hosting him? Who is that child? You got Bioborgs in the White House. You got trans everything. Y'all, just sea stars and sun stars. Leave fat alone. As long as you're not eating crazy, as long as you're drinking healthy water, as long as you're not eating Dunkin' Donuts and coffee, like if you want to have something once in a blue, that's fine. But as long as you're not eating hamburger helpers and stuff like that, you're trying to eat well, just eat well. The radiation got people puffing up like puffer fish. Okay. And that's part of probably the biological protection thing to seal your organs from all the radiation coming road. Maybe because I know women now and men that are puffed up. I'm thinking the puffiness might be a protective quality. As long as you are staying healthy, keep your adrenals okay. Make sure you're doing your cleanses and clearing, especially parasitic when you got nano ticks all over the place. If you watch when the world stood still and you saw those little metal fleas that were replicating like at the sound of light, y'all, okay? I'm just saying, okay? So they not like us. They not like us. They're not like us, okay? All right, so we talked about the grays. Let's go into the MERS. The reason why they're demonizing them with this concept in the MERS. A lot of you are having dreams of the water. Now, we watch on Zoom. Some of my Zoomies never saw the craziness. Now, big up to the Sea Star. I was on her channel years ago on Blog Talk, and you know they took Blog Talk off, y'all, right? Did you see what happened to Blog Talk? All those archives of Aquarius Rising that you guys watched me over the years, these motherfreakers took it off. Do you understand the diabolicalness? You know how many episodes I did of Aquarius Rising over 4 years of all the beings that were calling in? These motherfreakers took it off. They deleted the site. Why did they do that? Drew Brookman was on there too, the Drew Brookman Network. All of these amazing podcasts were done on, and they didn't give a forewarning. They didn't say, hey, do you want to take your information off because, you know, maybe you want to save some? No, they didn't. Mother freakers. Devil's mass destruction. Rest in peace, Blog Talk. Let me know if you guys heard anything about Blog Talk. All those amazing, oh my God, you know how many episodes? Some of you were on those shows. It was my favorite shows because I could play music. And you know I like to play music. Oh, I love to play my music on Blog Talk. You found me on Blog Talk? See, I had the greatest episodes. 4 years of it. Aliens calling in, people talking about contact. Best was the best, y'all. You had a show on Blog Talk too, Ashe? They bastards took all this stuff off. Used to love, I love Blog Talk. It was a couple of years. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so let's talk about the MERS. So we have the Khazar, Greys, Molockians, Deros versus the MERS under the Ethujian hub, the MERS, the Negas. Now, we talk about the Nega serpent, right? So, you know, I want to go back to, many of you know John X Army. Big up to John X, who you've seen on my channel quite a few times. Remember, they went after him hard when we did the whole psyop of, what's his name? Remember the guy who was killed? What's his name again? God. You know when you've been on a long time, I can't remember everything. Remember the guy who was killed under the guy's knee? What was his name? And they made a whole, remember it's like a year, that's how Biden ran on his name. Tell me, guys, remind me what his name is again. I forgot. Oh God. Me and John X Army did a big, and it was on Times Magazine. Like, what was it? Oh, they picked it up, y'all. And because my channel was smaller and I do a lot of protection, because people said, how come they went after him and not me? He had a huge channel. His channel was like 265,000 or 230,000 subscribers. Do you guys remember John X Army? George Floyd. Thank you. Thank you, Keisha. It was George Floyd. So me and him did a whole psyop saying that was all a psyop because we had found out not only that he supposedly, the real George Floyd had died years previously. His own friend came on a blog talk and talked about the fact that whoever is under there, that's not his friend, but his friend died years ago. The one that they say died didn't have any social security, no listing of him. So we did a whole psyop of him. And it was with me and John X Army. Now, many of you know, I'm going into the Nega, y'all. Many of you know that with the Nega serpent, it's a serpent being, it's a serpent energy and entity. It literally is ethereal. Usually when you engage with it, when I had a lot of that serpentine energy and you saw me represented with a lot of gold, my skin looked really gold all the time. I had the eyes on me all the time. The serpents, when they interface with you, you have to be righteous. That's why people don't talk about it anymore, because when you are not righteous, and John X Army is really someone who talks really big on that, because the serpent contacted John X when he was really working and doing high energy things. And we are all the Nega is linked to the O positive blood type. So the Nega is connected to the positive roots. So it contacted him and it let me know that he can now interface with me. It was really deep, y'all. The Nega serpent is a higher etheric being, an energy, okay? The serpent. And when John X Army was really in its highest element, the serpent would literally come in him and like go around him like a gold serpent snake, right? Um, and when he talks about this too, when he did some unrighteous things, big up to my homegirl, Dana Vudun, who helped him out, you know, because he needed help of a melanated positive Ruth Sea Star to help him because mitigate some of the energies because he fell off the wagon. And remember, they came after him hard. So after we did the entirety, the vril isn't the serpent. That's not, even though it kind of looks like a snake. We can actually say it might be the serpent. Because remember, you might be right. The vril, because remember, the vril society is female. And also, you know, when you look at the old Egyptian Kemetic headpieces, it had the serpent connected to the third eye and above the third eye. Okay, let's leave that there. There might be a connection there. Oh, thank you, my love. Thank you. Let me see. Hello, I'm in a future broadcast. I would like to see you talk about Avery books, STD 59, the greatest time travel episode on Star Trek. Star Trek DS. You're in a future broadcast. I would like, oh, in a future broadcast. I'd like to see you talk about Avery books. Okay, I'll focus on that next time. Thank you, my love. Thank you for the donation. Season 3, I have to watch it again. Episodes, okay, the 30th anniversary, past tense 30th anniversary. Episode 10, 11. Hold on, let me take a picture of this. I will definitely do it for you. You're intriguing me. Okay, I don't have a memory of it. I have to be refreshed, but thank you. Thank you. I will do it and I will talk about it. I promise. Thank you. Thank you, Ranger 117. I like your name. Okay, everyone look at the episodes. I've got to talk about that. You got me intrigued now. So like my mind is there now because I'm trying to resurrect like what episodes you're talking about, but I'm gonna look into it and I'll talk about it in the future. I'll bring it up at the beginning at the next broadcast. Okay. So what was I talking about? The serpent. So the serpent, when you're on, he said something that was interesting. The serpent wouldn't allow John X Army to talk to me. There's certain people that I don't have an affinity for. It's just me. You know, there's some people I like and I don't. But when it comes to the interconnected of the contactee or metaphysical community, it's kind of like hit or miss. Some people resonate with each other. It's a genetic connection, and sometimes it's an etheric connection. The serpent connected him to me etherically. And when the serpent was in contact with him, he was allowed to interface with me in my platform. When he fell off, when they attacked him, he fell off of the algorithm of higher vibration, and the serpent was no longer in contact with him. It wouldn't touch him because he was non-integral for that moment. And I remember him saying to me, he was like, oh my gosh, everyone demonizes the serpent, the Nega, but really in itself, it did not interface with him when he wasn't being righteous. So that's why a lot of people don't talk about the Nega, because usually you would have to be a very righteous person. When I say righteous, I'm not talking about the matrix righteous. I'm talking about the internal righteous, like you live with integrity with your family. You're very connected and positive with nature. You're not trying to hurt anything. You're very in sync to the beings of the etheric realm. So you haven't any of that maleficent kind of energy on you. Okay, that's why the serpent is usually more connected to females than males. So usually that's why you'll see like a lot of demonization of the serpent, like in the whole thing with the Garden of Eden. The serpent is demonized as being the one who tempted Eve. Why did the serpent only tempt Eve and not Adam? Because Eve had the capacity within her to be ultimately righteous and with oneness of the etheric realm and the higher realms. Okay, so the serpent was the information, the etheric information trickling down, interfacing with her, letting her know certain things. That's why they demonized it. Okay, so Nega in itself, the serpent beings, even before, like these serpentine beings are likened to, you know, dragon energy, even though it's not interconnected all the time. That energy is very high. Like the dragons are on the highest hierarchy. Serpentine energy, the Negas have a very high tier in the realm of the Ethujian, under the Ethujian hub. okay? And they're here as well. So there might be a lot of connection. Like, remember at my house in Florida, I had a black snake that used to always cross the front of my door, which is good luck in my culture. So the serpentine has a very positive energy. And that's also why I think that they were putting they were also putting snake venom in the cucarachas to hurt people. And it hurt people of more positive roots than it did of negative. So in the cucarachi shot that they were giving people, allegedly, according to the doctor, and I totally believe him because they did testing and they showed it under the microscope. They did a whole bunch of really thorough tests. They found that there was king cobra, snake venom. And I think they purposefully did that to weaponize what comes connected to certain positive root people and to vilify it and to attack us with it. That was an attack on positive roots. And what people are like, oh, well, that's not true. If you look at how many people transitioned with cucarachis, it was mostly positive roots. When they were telling you that the most people were affected were A's, it was really O's. There was more O positives that transitioned during cucarachis than any other. Okay? Because that was who they were targeting. Remember, the negative roots, who's the dark Kabbalahs connected to the Kzarians, they're enemies to the positive roots, O positive. That's why even with their whole concept of colonizing areas and gentrifying it, they are always going to kill off the originals, the Semites, you know? That's why they have this whole concept. Are you anti-Semite? It's projection. Because why would you say to people that they're being anti-Semite when you're not even a Semite? If you're a Semite, you're African and Arab. You're a melanated person. Well, how could you be a non-Semite, a convert, and then tell everybody that they're anti-Semite when they speak about you? You're not even a Semite. You're not from those people. You placated, you're a Deros, you made sure you covenant the information. And then once you covenant the information, you killed off the originals so that nobody would know the difference that you're placating. Okay? It's very important for you to realize that we're engaging with a dark, occultist, Babylonian, satanic, Kabbalah following, convert, subterranean, kind of like weird elephantitis kind of beings. These aren't positive beings. Anything that you take that they're giving, it's like the poison apple. Like, why would you take a bite of it? Right? The thimble. Remember in who was it? Snow White? What was it? Snow White? Who got poked by the thimble? Who got poked by the thimble? Was it Snow White? No, it wasn't Snow White. It was Sleeping Beauty, right? It was Sleeping Beauty. Remember? She went up and it was gold. It was a golden machine. I forgot what it's called. And then she was poked by the pin, the needle on that golden machine. Okay. And then she went to sleep. Who are they talking about? They're talking about the true Israelites, right? Talking about the Israelites, the true Israelites that went to sleep that don't remember who they are. So because another being came over, so they killed off the originators, but they kept some of the other ones so that they can attach them. Why do you think that most of the places in Brooklyn that are synagogues are in the hood, in the ghetto, next to melanated people, Semites? Why would you be in close proximity of Semites if you're not a Semite? Because you want to pick up their energy signature. If you can't be them, it's like Single White Female. You ever watch Single White Female? Anybody ever watch Single White Female? What'd that chick do? She saw her. She wanted to be like her, right? So she watched her. She watched her ebb and flow. There's monetized. They're watching everything. They're surveilling everything. They watch you, right? And she mimicked everything she did, down to putting her perfume on, so she could give the girl's boyfriend a blowjob and the guy wouldn't even know. Okay. Yeah. It was Snow White that has the thimble. The thimble. It was a thimble, right? Yeah. So just be careful. Like I said, these Deros and these Kzarians, they're everywhere. They're for all social media. And because the internet, YouTube, IG, Instagram, Facebook, what's the other? TikTok, X is not too infiltrated. as much because it's a whole nother sector. They are all infiltrated and flooded with these new beings in here. Some are agent provoke. They're all controlled opposition, even if they don't know it. So they flooded the UFO and because now with the Mother Hubbard ship that's here, they need to flood this community so you can't tell who's truth and who's not. They have to. That's like the greatest CIA operation just to flood things. So if you have legitimacy and lower numbers, because it's easier to vet when you have less people, right? More legitimate. But when you know that something's coming, you're going to flood it with all these people and incentivize them. Oh, you can make money speaking light languages, acting like you talk to aliens or you channel, whatever. Okay. We'll just set you up. You know what I mean? Now you got all these people flooding the department, so you can't tell who's real and real. That's why I say use your verification skills. If they came after 2020, chances are they're not non-legitimate. Because if they were legitimate, they would have shown up before. Not necessarily with the channel, but they would have been on other people's channels that were UFO. If it's part of who you are, it's not going to show up in 3 years. It's not going to show up when it's being monetized. It'll show up previously when it's not monetized, when you aren't being incentivized to come on and talk about things, when you aren't getting those incentives, and it's who you are, and you're connected to groups where you actually have to engage with them in more authentic ways, it's going to show up then. So I always say, because people ask me, do you think this? I don't know everybody on here who's talking about UFOs and ETs and light language and aliens and Artorians and Orions, and I don't know. I don't know everybody, but I do know how you vet things out because I've been a part of it a long time. Vetting things out is like, it will show up on someone legitimately years ago. It's not going to show up just instantaneously when an algorithm is accepting of the topic. That's how the CIA gets away with doing certain things and makes you unable to connect to those with more authenticity. It's easier to flood it out than to try to take them out. Because if you take out everybody who's legitimate, then they just know that you're the one doing it. So now you just flood it. So, sink or swim kind of thing. Okay. So just vet people out based on their past. Past behavior is a good indication of future behavior. I teach my children that. I teach everybody I've known. I know that for a fact. What people are in the past is a more legitimate vetting tool than anything that you can see them present now. Okay. When I share videos from like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, that's who I was. There isn't any changing. I should change a little bit. I've evolved somewhat. I was a little more saucy then. Okay. But same, I was always a contactee. So I didn't show up as a contactee when it was more beneficial. You know what I mean? Like I said, people online were very cruel, at some point. Okay, so let's talk about, we talked about the Nega being connected to the etheric serpentine energy, the Nega serpent, right? Having a connection to O positives, positive ruses overall, but O positives, just like no negative shows up with certain energy, O positives have more of that Nega energy, more of that serpentine energy, okay? Mer energy. A lot of the positive ruses are connected to the Mer beings, okay? And then we'll talk about the gorilla, the ape beings, which is showing up again. And now they have another Godzilla working with King Kong, KK. That's 1111. You know that, right? King Kong is 1111. And Kong, I think, where is M? M is usually the one. She said in Japanese, is Kong a whale? I think she said Kong in Japanese is whale. I don't know if M is here. Who else speaks Japanese? Is it right? Is Kong, because she mentioned this years ago. That's why it's beautiful to talk to people who speak different tongues and languages or come from different backgrounds, because you get so many gems. That's also why they isolate people in mono groups. They want if they want brown women, they want just all brown women. If they want lunar men, they just want mostly lunar men or lunar people. They don't want you having congressional meetings with all different backgrounds, because then like, oh, well, I spoke this language and this is a reference to this. It's like, oh, wow, really? I lived here in Scotland and this is an area that's connected to this. You learn so many things by being interfacing with so many different type of people and beings. And that's why they're trying to push you away and vilify everybody else. You shouldn't deny people. I don't deny people who I wouldn't deny you based on like you having a certain propensity. Like there's people, I love the Lyrian people. I do have a preference. I love listening to those who are connected to the lion beings. I'm fascinated by them. I appreciate their energy. Yeah, the Lyrian beings, the lioness beings, I don't know. They just have a very, I don't say that I can't say I resonate, like I feel like I'm them. No, but it's like, I can appreciate their energy. You know what I mean? Like lion beings, like, you know, the whole, because remember, one of my favorite books as a child was the lion, the wardrobe, and the lion, the wardrobe, and the, God, what was it? The lion, the wardrobe, and something. Even that's my favorite book. I'm past that age. My mom used to read it to me all the time. You know, and you called it Narnia, the Narnia. Remember Narnia? But it was based on that being like the lion who was the king in that realm had wings. Where's the wardrobe, the lion, the witch, the lion, the wardrobe, and the witch, or the witch, the lion, the wardrobe. Does anyone remember that? The witch. Thank you. Thank you, Kay and Wendy. Thank you. The witch, the lion, and the wardrobe. Which is the way around? The lion, either in the wardrobe. I know this, the lion, the witch, and the wardrobe. Thank you, Janice. Janice. Thank you, Janice. I say I love the book and I can't even remember the direct. Okay. I really love that book. You should read it I love that book. You know what? I should see if I can get it again. My mom used to read, I love the whole concept, like going in the closet and then going through the wardrobe and then going into Narnia. And then the time frame, that kind of coincides with dimensional space and the quantum field. Because remember, they were in Narnia for years, got old, right? In Narnia, and then they came back and it was like within seconds they were back to the same age they were when they left. So there was a differential in times because, you know, sometimes, you know, and you hear many times with ET groups and so on, they'll say like the interterrestrials will live for thousands of years and then they'll come up to the surface and the time frame, like they can live for 1,000 years, but 1,000 years could be like one day on Earth. Something like that. It's like weird differentials between the quantum field. But if you watch Narnia, it's such a good show, even when they made the movie. The book is better because you pull in your own mindset and there's no trying to you into a certain push you into a certain agenda. But you should really watch Narnia and read the book. You really, matter of fact, I should probably resurrect the book again and just kind of go back to what was Prince Caspian. I love those tales. Okay. So when we go into the concept of the ape beings, so we're going back King Kong, and I told you I had contact with the ape beings, what was it? Last year, 2024. It started in March, I think. Was in March or yeah, I think it was March or April. And I never believe now I talk about all the time in Brazil that I speak about the fact that for some reason the monkeys will stay away from me. Now, at first, I thought it was just like just just a chance, you know what I mean? First time when I went to Brazil, when I was in Brazil in 2018, was it 18? I think 2018, was it 2018? I remember going to Brazil and we stayed in the jungle. It was so beautiful. I love big to Brazil. Vontade. We stayed in the jungle, and I remember there were the guy who built the house, Lorenzo. Remember, a lot of people don't realize Brazilians, even though they say that the Portuguese, a lot of them have Italian backgrounds. A lot of Italians. Rome didn't die; it just relocated to South America. I always say that. So I stayed in the middle of the jungle in Bahia, and I remember, you know, the gentleman who built the house, he built it knowing I was coming. And when I went to the house, he just finished building it, and we call it the Mickey Mouse house. And it was beautiful in the middle of the jungle. And he would have, while he was building it, the roof, the monkeys would throw coconuts at the house. You know, they're very mischievous there. So they throw coconuts at the house, right? There's howler monkeys too. We got a chance to see them. They like stay in the back. They're like really big, black, melanated, but they're really mysterious. But like you know, like spider monkeys are down there, everything. They throw coconuts at the house before I got there. When I arrived there with my children, they stayed away from the house completely. That the owner, Lorenzo, was in shock. He didn't understand. And we figured maybe it's because we're very foreign there. Maybe they could sense it. There was no way to really verify why at the time. They would not come near me. No monkey in Brazil would come near me. And it was me mostly because if the girls went somewhere, the monkeys would stay close by. They would come close by, but it was me. Fast forward, we come back and we come back again to Brazil. Same place. I stayed in another part of the jungle. I like to stay in the jungle because, I love being connected to the jungle because I come from jungle people. I'm a jungle woman. I always tell you I'm a jungle girl. Remember, I'm a jungle brother, a cool, smooth brother. And I've been so many places I never discovered. I love jungle. Remember Jungle Brothers? So I went to the jungle again. And this time, we stayed at another place that had tons of monkeys and my moqueca and my other girlfriend who has my goddaughter. They were living and swimming in the, I wouldn't do it. They had what do you call it? Like a pond behind their houses and they were jumping in with the monkeys, swimming in the river behind their house. But every time I come around there, the monkeys would disappear. They would just leave. And everybody was like dumbfounded. So the second time I was in Brazil that time, all the monkeys were afraid of me. So we don't understand why. Now it's becoming like I'm a phenomenon because we don't understand why. So then I go into São Paulo, big up some of my family in São Paulo. So we have some people down there right now. And in Rio, the Cariocas. Then I was in São Paulo and they had a family where I was staying up in the mountains of these beautiful spider monkeys. Now, in all the B&Bs, they show the families interfacing with the spider monkeys. They live there. The spider monkeys had a home right next to the house. So I was excited just to break this theory of something going on with the monkeys. I go, we stay in the house. I'm excited because I'm like, oh, the spider monkeys, it's probably Bahia. Maybe I have an energy that's going, whatever. Those spider monkeys didn't come near the house. There was nowhere. They left their area where they lived. They actually moved away from me. Now the Brazilians are like, because remember, I have Brazilian in my bloodline. So it's like, what is going on? It's something that has to do with me specifically. So fast forward later on, comes to find out when I had contact with the gorilla beings, in here, it was when I was in the States. I never had any connection to gorillas, not like that. And before, this is a time that they're promoting all these gorilla movies like Monkey Apes, Planet of the Apes, Godzilla with King Kong again, Monkey Man, all these movies are being presented. And I'm not watching any of the movies, but this ape, literally, it was a gorilla. It wasn't a monkey. It's not a chimpanzee. It's some sort, it was an ape, a gorilla. It had contact with me and he knew me. And I was together with a Spanish woman. I told you she demisted, a Mexican woman who was mist, like a greenish kind of mist. And she demisted into this big hat that you see in Lemonade video with Beyonce, and Trump's wife wore it during the inauguration. I note that because it must mean something symbolically, because when she demisted, she was really beautiful, but very like strong. She just looked like a stealth, like a silent killer. And we were lumped together with this gorilla, and he knew me and we were close and we kind of were going around doing stuff. And then I went into another interface, another contact with two apes again, and they were standing, protecting me on either side as I walked in this realm. Then I realized I'm having contact with gorillas. So it made me know that they were on site. Now, we talked about this last time I was on Zoom, how the gorillas are linked to the Sasquatch, the Yeti, the Bigfoot, and that there were sightings of these huge gorillas, not apes. That's why I shared that story with you, because I personally know now, as I did some research, it was a friend of mine who told me something else. Many of the apes, all spider monkeys, howler monkeys, the smaller monkeys, chimpanzees, they are scared of gorillas. The gorillas hold a higher hierarchy in the ape primate system. I realized after the fact, like hindsight is 2020, The reason why most likely all of the moqueca, the gorillas, were afraid of me was because I carried a signature that I didn't even know I have, which is the gorilla signature. I literally have these gorillas that are part of my sector, that part of my team, and didn't even know it until last year. So anytime I went around organic apes, I've been to zoos before. Those monkeys they weren't afraid of me. It was only the ones out in nature that were more organic to the land that were frightened of me because I carried a gorilla energy. Now I know now. Back then I didn't know. Okay. So it's important that we realize that, oh, I had some weird flash on my phone, y'all. Yo, hold on. I had a flash on my phone. That's interesting. I don't know what that was, y'all. I don't know if it was something that showed up. I don't know. It was like a quick flash. Sometimes, there's messages that show up, but I don't know. I can't do anything because it's on the phone. Okay. Did my screen have a green glitch? Y'all, it did. Sabrina said it had a green glitch. Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you for that. It flashed green. Oh, it was wild. I saw it on there. Interesting. So when we talk about the Apeians, I just named it Apeians because I didn't have a term for the beings that I'm in contact with, which are gorillas. They're not other primates. They're not chimpanzees. They're not the spider monkeys. They're gorillas. And I have and even with my whole affinity, I told you already, I confessed this already. And I'm okay confessing it because I'm really appeased by this being. Remember the guy he's on the Black Panther. It's so crazy. I don't remember his name all the time. I think I'm in love with him. I'm so I'm so off the chart. I think I'm in love with him. I love that monk. When I saw that whole image of him and the ice mountains with the mouth open of the gorilla and him with the hair on him and like his throne and the whole gorilla theme, I was like in love. Like I guess that's like like whoever my love is, he's ape-like. Like he has that gorilla energy. Like that's who my love is because whenever I see that image, I am so freaking in love. Like I feel it in my everything. And it's interesting. And the gorilla, the gorilla that I saw there, that's not the being. It's literally who carries that signature. Like I'm in love with that. And I never fall in love. That's so weird. So like I love him. When I saw him, I was like, that's who I want to be with. That's who I want. Oh, Umbaku. Umbaku. Even his name is sexy. What's his name? Chikala? Is it Chikala? Or is it what's his name? Umbaku? Or is it Chikala? Umbaku. Oh, he's so sexy. I'm in love. I don't know. Anyway, I'm okay to say it perfect, but that's how you know I've been on. I don't care. I'm in love with that energy. I love, 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 love him. Anyway, so that gorilla is also a byproduct. And also that's why with this geoengineered so-called monkeys that got on the loose in South Carolina, many of you said who will live over there. Many of you who live over there said that they said that they caught all the monkeys except one. I think it was a psyop. I think they want, even if the monkeys were on the loose, they did that because there's a gorilla being that's on site. We did a whole investigation of this man. It was a lunar man. It was his backyard. It was at the time all these weird fog things were coming, and this thing was cloaked in the trees, and it literally was cloaking itself like how Predator cloaked itself. And we actually saw its face, and it was a gorilla in his tree, a huge gorilla. So now I knew that the reason why they were projecting or creating a psyop of monkeys being on the loose so that if you saw a monkey, you wouldn't think it was odd. And that's also who I think that Trump is trying to isolate in these national forests, because remember, I liken the Bigfoot and Sasquatch to being an ape type being. They're scouts that were sent here. That's why there was no females. A lot of the people said that a lot of these, it's just like if you send warriors to war, you're going to send the men, right? So why would you have just men Sasquatch? It means that they were sent here as scouts to watch. That's why they don't interface with anyone. And that's why they have these cool kind of like these skill sets of like cloaking themselves. You know, they'll cloak themselves. They look like the trees. They can look like the squirrels. They're like, they merge with nature, so you can't see them as well. They have this ability like ninjas to to turn things, move things without people noticing. Is really amazing abilities. It's because they're scouts. They're here for this cycle. And now that the ship is here, either they get extracted back on the ships to disclose the information that they found. And also, I think, for those who read the book, Interview with an Alien, we did book club with Ada, a couple of the sea stars from my previous Zoom group. And Ada headed the actual book club with Interview with the Alien. That's with Errol and Matilda. I'd encourage you to go read it yourself, because you're just going to get my account from what I took from it. But I think that the Sasquatch were sent here, the apes were sent here as scouts, because they were trying to find a way to mitigate extracting some of us from here safely with the technology that the nefarious Khazars have and the Deros are using. They have some sort of surveillance technology. They have some other technology. That's what keeps people locked into the reincarnation cycle, so they can feed off of the human population, and also keep people here. I think this is just a theory. I can't vet this out for sure, and I would love to hear your opinion, but I think that after the last reset, after the last pole shift, the Sasquatch and the Bigfoot were sent here, and Yeti, because Yeti would be more in the winter areas, the more white, snowy areas. They were sent here as kind of like spies to watch and see if they can get any intel on how to escape or being able to be successfully extracted out of here. And I think Trump knows this. Again, he's part of the tall white aliens, but he's under the Kzarian, Molockian, Deros ruling. He's part of that sector. I think the whole thing with him infiltrating the national parks, it is all a byproduct of him trying to mitigate the interface of those coming up off the ship and trying to get rid of them. Also, I think the fires could be connected to them trying to burn out creatures, like smoke them out. Creatures, beings that they know are on foot. And remember, even in the movies, the reason why they smoke out areas is because you can't see them when they're cloaked, but the smoke can give you a visual imagery of them. So the smoke around them can give an imagery of them. So just, FYI, thought that was very interesting. So I think that's what's going on. So now we have the battle of the Ethujians versus the Kzarians. And they're going to lose in the way that the Ethujians already have their sector, a group underneath their hub that are here working on the behalf of trying to rid of some of these parasitic glitch type of subterranean beings. And they're working together in sync. But there's a lot of war going on with those who are sleepers. Those who are sleeping in this matrix and unaware, they're under some sort of like hypnotism. They're like hypnotized. So they're unaware that we're in a simulation, and the Kzarians, the Greys, the Molockians, they know this. So they take advantage of the fact that the humanoids are unaware of who they are, outside of the firmament. And they perpetually, just like when Dorothy came upon the poppy seal, they keep drugging us, putting stuff in the food, spraying the planet, constantly perpetuating sleeping chemicals, promoting hypnotism to keep that group subjugated in a kind of daze. Okay. And the byproduct of the others coming here, the Ethujians, is to wake up the population and make them aware so that they can be where they can be extracted. It's hard for you. You won't be able to be extracted from here to wake up outside the simulation if you're always under the drugs of the others. That's why I say if you can non-participate with these beings by keeping them out of your body, and y'all just be careful, because one of the ways, I mean, they tried it with me, but it isn't going to work. They'll send handlers, like those of you who are part of the few that are out, that are real beings, real humans. If you watch Bliss, you'll understand what I mean. Real humans, real beings, real soul encased bodies. They're going to try to set beings inside of your groups or around you to covertly take over. You know what I mean? Like agents, handlers. With me, they tried it many years. They'll send men, and I that's not going to do it for me. They could sell women, that's not going to do it for me, because, and what's great about that is the reason why I was probably harder to infiltrate is because of the way I mother. And I say the way I mother because not all mothers are protective of themselves. Okay. When you see mothers posting their little, just no shade though, because I think social media allows that and kind of perpetuates that. But when like mothers are posting, especially, I know how protective a mother is, but if she's posting her children online, that's a sign that she's not protective. If she's posting her children, especially if they're young, because that means they're more attackable. People are very vicious online. The beings on here are just diabolical, especially in the occult sector. Everybody got a spell for someone. If they don't like you, they're going to do it to your child. And if they got an image of your child, they can do it on the image of your child, because your child's, especially young ones, they can't protect themselves the same. They can in the etheric realms, but it depends. So, you always got to be careful, because they will attack what is most vulnerable. Like, remember when they attacked my mother? Because they can. Okay. So it's very important and that also lets you know who people are. If they're not protecting their children, something's wrong with them. You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't want to have people, especially in this sector, you wouldn't want people to have access to your children's image. Not now. Because they set out handlers and people, and they have occultists on deck. Okay. They know what your children look like outside of here, but posting them with a whole bunch of reckless people online, it's just not helpful. You know what I mean? People are mean and vicious. You know what I mean? I think you should be able to do that, but I would always counsel against it. If someone's not protective of their little ones like that, I wouldn't expect they could protect me. That's just me. So the reason why I wasn't able to have a handler and a agent attached to me is because of the way I mother. I'm way more protective as a mother than I would be if I was single without children. Okay. Without children, I would just probably, because I'm a Sag, we don't really have fear like that. We let people around regardless. But as a mother, I'm more hands out, like strong-armed. So with me, that's why they're unable to send people, because I would personally, even if I liked you, I won't let you around my children. And if I don't let you around my children, that means something. Okay. And I've learned that online too. Even when you let people around and you think they're cool with you, it's because they were a handler and they set up to hurt you and your children. Yeah. I've seen that really quick. So I just be careful with putting your little ones out. Okay. You can if you want, but this is not the climate to do it. You got people just taking tutorials of doing witchcraft online. And if their man likes you, he thinks you're cute, even if you didn't do anything with them, she'll do a spell on you. There's a lot of recklessness and non-integral spell work being done online. Okay. People do things for less. You smile too much. I remember you smile too much, they want to attack you. A guy likes you and you don't reciprocate it, he wants to attack you. A girl, you don't respond to her email on time, she'll attack you. There's too many things that can happen online. So be careful with handlers and agent smiths that could be attached to you or those you love, because if they can't get at you, they'll go to the ones you love the most. And if you have people around you too close spacing that are vulnerable based on maybe drug addiction, alcohol addiction, just they don't have a lot of integrity, you got to keep a healthy distance from them because they'll use them to get to you. They can't get at you, they'll go from your outer perimeters and they'll go to the people they think you trust the most or that you have close proximity. That's not me making you paranoid. I call me paranoid of what it is, but I've seen it. I've seen it. And they will, and it may not be a whole bunch of them. They just need one. And it's especially in my groups, what they'll do is they'll get one, and that one is the one that will create coups. They like to create coups. Yeah. That's all. So just keep a healthy distance. This is not the time to play with everybody. This is a time you want to keep your energy protected. You want to keep the people outside of you, even if they look nice. They may have a beautiful smile. Oh, thank you, my love. Thank you, Bree. Even if they have a nice smile, even if she's cute, she looks like she likes you, even if she does all these things, you got to be careful because I talked about the men with the honeypots. The honeypots, men are way more vulnerable than women. It depends on the woman. Women can be vulnerable if they are really desperate for love. They don't have a lot. They want affection. They may be desperate based on maybe having a necessity or not knowing. But men are way more influenced by honeypot thoughts. Honeypot thoughts. Yo, these girls out here, woo, boy, you got honeypot thoughts all over the place. And then after one of our Sunstars shared with me that one of these diabolical women online she's trafficking young people. I didn't know that. He told me that. She's the one who set up that one honeypot that's all over the internet now doing light language. She's the one who cultivated her. I was like, oh my God, you got to watch who's people's connections. He shared that with me because I didn't know, because I don't really play out in the outside anymore. Like I used to do that when I was online when I was younger. I don't really do that. I go through the different kinds of sectors and talk to people. I don't do that as much anymore. But when he let me know that diabolical one that is charging people 40,000, whatever, a whole bunch of money to talk to a walkie-talkie, talk to Oshun on a walkie-talkie. What did she talk to? Was it Oshun or was it? Yeah, I don't know who she was talking to on the walkie-talkie. She said she had Oshun on the walkie-talkie. I don't know, charging people. Anyway, but he told me, this is like me, it's like me telling, word on the curb is she's setting out honeypots and she's taking these young people, cultivating them, look like really nice and authentic, throwing them out into the stratosphere of the UFO community, and people are picking up these honeypots like they legit. That's a honeypot scheme. Honeypot. I wouldn't call her a honeypot thought, though. I don't think that young lady's a thought. I just think she's a byproduct of being cultivated under a dark. He called her a trafficker. I don't know if it's only sex. I don't know. We'll see. I can't vet these things out. I stay away from the sector. But I know that when you know somebody is dark and somebody comes from, oh, thank you, Bree. Thank you. When you know someone's dark and people come from them, birds of a feather flock together. She threw out a honeypot. She's cute and everything. She's real adorable, but she's a honeypot. And she probably cultivated her. I don't know if she got a spy agent. I don't know. I stay clear of the honeypot. Well, I'm not influenced by honeypots because that's for the men. Okay. So, pretty face and a smile. Was she a pretty butt and a smile? That girl is poison. Boys, is a pretty butt and a smile? Is a pretty face and a smile. What is it? Big butt and a smile. No, it's a big butt and a smile. I gotta get my songs right. Don't laugh at me, y'all. It's like big butt and a smile. Big butt and a smile. That girl is poison. Yeah. Be careful, gentlemen, especially if you're conscious right now and you're doing your shadow work. Let me tell you, Be careful of those honeypots. That's how they get to y'all. That's truly how they get to y'all. Women, it's a little different. You can do that with certain women. It depends on how weak she is for men or, that kind of thing. But generally, that's more of a scheme that works for men. And, when people say, that's not true, look at all the Russian spies, the honeypots that come out of the Eastern Europe that infiltrate all these congressmen. Remember all those congressmen? Remember the congressmen that were being caught with like images of them like smelling shoes. They would have like really weird fetishes. That's from them honeypots. And the best way you could send a spy is send it through a pretty face. A lot of men can't say no to a pretty face. That's how you got to be careful. That chick, and I didn't know, and I gotta get a shout out. I can't say who it was because I don't want him to, because y'all should just know from knowing. Just take what I share and just know it. Okay. Because I gotta be careful. I don't want to, he doesn't care if I blow his spot, but I want the honeypot. I want to watch the honeypot to see how far she'll go. Okay. Yeah, I gotta watch the honeypots. I just watch from a distance. I stay out of that league. I'm unconnected, disconnected from everyone. Oh, thank you, my love. Oh, thank you, Yafi. Yafi from Israel. Ah, she's from the Holy Land. How's the Yafi? Is there any sandstorms on there over there? I want to see if you have sandstorms because there's sandstorms all over the United States. Yafi, hey mama, love you. I miss you. I've known Yafi for years. Yafi, let us know if there's any sandstorms over there. I want to see if it's hitting Israel as well. Because I know they're hitting all over here. I want to see if the ship is, because I think the ship could be causing the sandstorms. So if it's happening there, it could be that it's affecting their, remember, my theory is that the ship is everywhere, all over the top. So everyone's getting the same kind of weather patterns because it's all under the same ship. Okay, so yeah, watch out for the honeypot shows. I just want to mention that honeypot thoughts. Never trust a big butt and a small like. There was somebody in here who said he's affected by the booties. It's not your cutie. It's not your beauty. It's your booty. No, but we had hit wave. Wait, you had hit wave and now it's gonna rain? Ooh, don't go in that rain. This man said he's affected by the big butt thing. Be careful because that's a homosexual ritual. You know that, right? That's why they perpetuate that's why they perpetuate big butts. You saw the ship in your dream, Yafi? Yo, it's here. There's a lot of things going on. Yeah, so just be careful, man. I can't really, who am I to tell you to be careful? It's you would know. A honeypot, she'll come out of the blue. Then when you get with her, she's got you hypnotized with her pretty face and smile. She's got you hypnotized. Look at all the honeypots online. You've got this young lady. She's so pretty. They've got this young lady online. She's making more money than a supermodel or a football player. What's her name? Really pretty girl. And I don't know, y'all, because I looked at her. Someone shared her with me. It's weird. I think she might be some sort of, it might be a honeypot scheme. She might be a honeypot thought. And then she's a virgin. I can't even go into it. Just be careful, y'all. Just be careful out here. For the sea stars, I think it's harder for y'all. Nobody's really open to men like that. You know what I mean? The only way, you'd have to, yeah, it's harder for females, especially if they're awake. Women are way more paranoid and protective of their energy when they're really spiritual. The more spiritual a woman, the more she'll keep men away from her or people that would mess with her peace of mind. So I see it's harder they would have to send someone in that spiritual community like they do with me or in my groups. That's how they get at you. It's not going to be through like a man honeypot thing. It's rare. You know what I mean? That's all. All right, y'all. So I think that's it. You guys have any other questions? I think I stayed on with you for a while. Just be mindful, pay attention. I'm excited about the Ethujians being here and basically drumming up all this amazing. It's like, I feel like, an Avatar when all of the animals came together, like all the elementals came together to fight against the enemies. That's where we're at right now. Keep your body clean. Possession is real. Whatever that fake Pope did, remember Rod Hayes said that they unfold the Pope? He's one of our people. You got to tell. And that dastardly being, she's the reason why they attacked him. You know that, right? The same one who was copying, pasting my information on my channel. That's what I'm saying. She's the one. And then she was set out a honeypot over there too. See what I'm saying? That chick. He was the one who warned everyone. They were like, oh, he's mad and so on. Listen to some of these elders, though. Sometimes you gotta listen to the elders, you know? That woman, she's the one. I don't know if what she's talking about nowadays because I don't pay attention to her, but she's the one that was trafficking people allegedly according to him. Yeah. And I believe him. After I saw that last honeypot she set out here that's doing all this kind of stuff that she does, she cultivated her. Yeah. He gave me that warning. I can't, I couldn't vet it out because I'm not in that, it depends, but now I see it. So I'm gonna watch that honeypot and see what else she does. She isn't doing anything nefarious. She said she created a honeypot and she came into our sector and now she's doing all this stuff, but I don't know. Nothing she's sharing is negative. So I don't know what the scheme is. Maybe she's just sent out here as a spy to captivate some men. You know what I mean? Maybe that's it. We'll see. All right, y'all. So everyone, I want to thank you for coming on today. What's going on with Shelby? Shelby's having problems? What's happening? What's happened, Shelby? Can someone tell me? Shelby, tell the FBI only no cops. What happened, Shelby? She's a former zombie? Um, Shelby, email me. Yes, thank you, Susu. Can you email me? Hold on. I'm gonna put my email in here. Shelby, do you want to come on and just talk? Do you want to talk for a minute? Can I send? Says she was kidnapped. What? Let's bring her on. Shelby, I'm gonna put the let me see if I can get my hold on, Shelby. Let's see if I can get my hold on, Shelby. I'm gonna see if I can share this with you and you can come into the chat. Give me one moment. Let me see if I can get you in the oh, here we go. Hold on, Shelby, I'm coming. I'm gonna send an invite so you can come on in. Okay. All right, Shelby, I'm gonna put this in. Hold on. Take me a minute. Hold on, Shelby. I'm coming. I'm gonna put it in the chat, Shelby. Darn, is the link too long? Hold on, let me get another link. I'm coming, Shelby. Give me 1 second. I did something in the chat. I should have done this. It just took me too long. Okay, hold on. Let me get another link. Okay, I put the link in there. So no one click on the link. Let that be for Shelby. I'm gonna click it in twice. Come again. Okay, here we go. Okay, Shelby, I put the link in there. So if you want to come into Zoom, come on in. Thank you, Chan. Ooh, we're gonna find out, Candy. Shelby, if you just click on the link, if you want to come on in and share what's going on with you. She said she can't talk, they're watching, but they're watching your comments too. You just made comments, so they're watching that as well. What's the difference? If they already know that you're on here. I mean, if they're watching you, Shelby, it's to say they can see in my chat if you were saying anything. There's nothing they can do other than what they're doing now. To speak, you don't have to put your camera on. She gave her address. If this is a troll, why give your address? Someone said, Shelby, go on the Zoom. Shelby, I mean, go on the Zoom. It's just me. There's nobody on here but me and you. We're gonna talk on live, but there's nothing. If they're trolling and you've given them such information in the chat, it's the same difference. But we can talk. If you need things to be resolved, we could talk now. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Shelby, if it's really serious, you can always email me. Okay. But if you're not willing to talk on here, then you can always email me. Anybody else want to come into Zoom to talk? Oh, she's in. Okay, let's get it. Hey, Shelby. Shelby, you just have to push your, there she goes. There she goes. Shelby. I remember you, Shelby.
Do you remember me?
Shelby, I remember you. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you all? That's the
Yep.
little one.
Hey, baby.
Hi, honey. How
Yeah.
you how you doing, Mama?
Not good.
Okay.
Not good.
What's going on?
So I don't know if you remember my husband. Um, he's the military and it was like 3 years into our relationship. Um, like he let me quit my job. We went on vacation, everything was fine. And then I started seeing like there was a blood stain on the couch and like I would find all this like rags with blood and I would like hear like children in our basement and so he could definitely hear everything I'm saying, but whatever.
Okay, okay.
So
Well,
I
let's
told
put, oh, wait, hold on 1 second, Shelby. Can everyone just beam like protection over Shelby and the baby? Everyone just put a big, beautiful 13, put some protective evil eyes, put the eyes up. Oh, even the dogs are reacting. Come on, Babette. Yeah, they're reacting. Put the evil eye, put the Hamza hands up to put protection over her, please. Everyone just throw that in there, please. Okay.
so I went to the police
Yes.
and CPS got involved because I told them that what he was doing to our children and the kids got taken from me and I'm going to court now for neglect. because they said that like my mental health, but I'd been evaluated 4 different times by 4 different doctors. And
Do you have Babette, come here. The dogs, yeah, there's some sort of energy that they're putting out here. Everyone put your evil eyes up, please. Hands up. The dogs are reacting. That's the energy. So do you have the documentation of your evaluation?
yes, I do.
You're bringing that to court, correct?
Yes, I am.
Good,
But I'm
good.
still in the house and he has like complete control over me. Um, they are
Where's he now? He's not living in the house with you, correct?
no, he is. He's at work right now, but I'm sure he's hearing everything. But I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, so he works for these very rich millionaires, Jewish people, and they are kidnapping, sacrificing children, and cannibalizing them. And he's feeding it to me and my children.
Have you seen him do this?
Um, I can hear everything, and my son is saying a lot. Like CPS, they won't do anything about it. Like they haven't even talked to my son at all.
CPS is a
They
lot of
won't
times
talk to
in
my
on it. A lot of times they're in on it.
yeah, they're in on it. My lawyer is in on it. She's like, your husband loves you. He wants you home. He watches me all day. Like anywhere I go, I'm being watched. I'm being followed. My family is like, he's got everyone convinced. So I'm basically like just stuck here
Let me
while
ask
all
you a
this is
que-
going
let
on.
me ask you a question, Shelby.
Yeah.
How long have you been with him?
5 years, and he's military.
How did you meet him?
I met him through a website. Well, I met a guy through a website. It didn't work out, and but I was introduced from him um through the guy that I met on the website.
When you first met him, did you get any spidey senses or were you just really
Well,
attracted? Was
yeah.
he really?
So like in the
Yeah.
beginning, I would like wake up and I would have like bruises on me, and I swear, like in the middle of the night, I saw his hand, and he had like a rag, and he went like that over my hand, over my mouth, and I would wake up with like bruises on me. Like I have bruises all over me, and this is something that he's still doing like while I'm sleeping.
Is there anywhere that you can go when you're safe with the baby?
No, nowhere, nowhere.
Is your son, how old is the
He's
other
three.
son? 3?
He's three.
These
Yeah.
were both babies with him?
Yeah. Yep.
How is he through your pregnancy?
Um, he started changing like as soon as I gave birth, he was like cutting my son's hair, and yeah, he was like shaving his head. He was like he like tells my son things like to call me by my name, and like he's he
What is
doesn't
his religious? Does he have any religious background, any religious
he
affiliation?
I thought he was a Christian, but my son tells me that he lights candles in the basement and he's like chanting. I hear him chanting in the basement.
Do you have any family members that you're still close to, like mom, dad, sister?
I do, but like this has been ongoing and everyone has just like given up
They don't
because
believe you. They don't believe you.
some of them do, some of them don't, because my family is like very one track minded. They're not like spiritual at all. So when I tell them like CPS is not listening to me, they trust CPS, you know.
Do you
So
do you have siblings? Do you have siblings?
I do.
Any that you're close to?
Um a little, but like I said, I can't do anything on my phone. I already got a second phone. He found it, and I went to um I went to a domestic violence shelter, but I couldn't bring my kids. And
What?
yeah, I couldn't bring my kids. So it's like anytime I leave, like if I leave, it can't be with them because of all this court stuff going on. So like now I have to stay here.
What are you going to court for?
Because they're trying to say that I neglected my children by calling the police and calling CPS. Um, and like they're saying that CPS already did their investigation. They can't find anything. So they're saying that I had like postpartum and all of this,
But
and I've
even if you
already
have
been evaluated.
postpartum, that's understandable. You don't vilify a woman for having, even if you did have it, let's just say,
Right, exactly.
you don't vilify a woman for having some changes in her hormones that makes her a
Right.
little more sensitive to
Yeah.
things. Now,
Yeah. So luckily, like my doctors, my counselors are on my side. Like I haven't had the only thing that they've diagnosed me with was adjustment disorder, which is like due to the stress of losing my children. But yeah, it's really fucked up.
do they
It's
have your
really,
son now, or do you have your son?
yeah, I have my son now here.
Good, good, okay.
Yeah.
I was asking because I really want you safe, and I know that I could feel the energy. The dogs, my dogs could feel it.
Yeah,
I
it's
know it's
real,
legitimate.
man.
I know it's legitimate. And
I have been your subscriber for like over 10
I've
years.
known you for a while. That's how I recognize when I
So
saw your face. And I
yeah,
wish you
yeah.
well. You're a beautiful mom and a beautiful spirit, and you shouldn't be going through this.
I
I
know.
know
It's
it's stressful.
awful.
I know it's stressful, but I also know that you have protection within yourself and the babies do too.
Yeah.
Maybe because even if you're undergoing this with him, does he have to stay in the house? Is he, when he comes home, is he harmful to you?
Um, yeah, like while I'm sleeping, it's still going on. Like somehow he's like drugging me because I wake up and I'm like bleeding and I have bruises all over me and like
Can you sleep in a separate room than him?
yeah, he'll like go downstairs and it's still happening somehow. Like he has I think he has like cuz he's a house framer.
Mhm.
So I think like he has somewhere in the house where he has like multiple people living and my son like attests to it.
How old is your son again? 3?
Three, yeah.
What is your son saying?
That he'll like talk about the guy that's here, that's living here, and daddy in the basement and
Is he
there's
afraid of his father?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Is there any way that we can try to hash out a plan to maybe get you to a shelter close by so you can do you want to? Because really in itself, do you feel safer going out of the house somewhere to maybe gain some leverage so you can get some peace? Because I
That's what I tried to do, but I didn't have my kids with me. And it's really weird because the Secret Service reached out to me and I just took the exam um and now I have to take the physical exam. It's super weird that like they just randomly reach out to me.
the Secret Service?
Yeah, the uniform division.
Can I ask you your blood type?
Oh, positive.
I'm being attacked. Is there any way the Secret Service
Yeah,
though?
super weird. Like I didn't even apply. I had my resume up and I had two different people reach out to me and they're like, so I applied, I passed the exam, I took the exam at a federal office,
Mhm.
and I'm waiting to take my physical. But like I've already contacted the FBI, so I'm like wondering, like, do they know? Like I don't know.
Secret
It's just all
Service
weird.
knows you. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah. It's
What I
super
would
weird. I need to make like a video just stating like everything that's
Well,
happened.
we need you to have peace because you got a little one in your arm right now.
I
She's
know.
beautiful. She's beautiful.
I
And
know.
we need you to have peace. And just so you can think without feeling like someone's in the house with you doing something to you.
Right.
Um, I don't want you putting this information where you are, but I want what I need you to do is email me where you live, what state, and we
Yeah.
can find sea stars and sun stars who know places. And I don't want to talk about it on
Yeah.
here that could be plausible for you to go, and then you get federal aid to get a little temporary place so that
Right.
he and your son can relax a little bit.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
really feel like I can feel your energy, and like I said, you came and my dogs felt it, so it's very strong.
Exactly. Yeah,
You're,
my dog has been going crazy too.
yeah,
Like
you're
she
a
doesn't want to go outside, and she always loves going outside. She won't go outside. She's like hiding under the table.
so she's being exposed. Somebody's Is there any way that you can, until we figure out hash out a plan, because I want you safe and I
Yeah.
want you to be able to be safe with the babies, okay? We're gonna see if we can get a place that's nearby that takes you and baby, and
Yeah. I
children.
just know that like if I take them and leave, he will definitely call the police.
No, but if you go under the
Right.
guise that you need help and you
Right.
need a little peace, he can't do
Right.
that. Okay.
Right.
Because if you're going to get help, because abusive spouses, that's
Right.
what they always do. So this way, if you go under the guise of having a protective place as a woman who's in distress, he can't do that.
Right.
Okay. But I
Yeah.
definitely need you to start, do you have any salt? You have some sea salt in your house?
Sea salt. I know I have like table salt.
Do you know if it's sea salt? No?
I think yeah, I think it is actually.
See
Yeah.
if you have sea salt and when we get off Zoom, I want you to go and just put sea salt and seal your doors, your front door and your back doors
Okay.
and your garage, wherever there's somewhere where someone can get in the house.
Okay.
Just when I say salt, just like a line of salt.
Okay.
Okay. I just
How
want to
long do I leave it there for?
leave it until it messes up and then reseal it again. I just want to make sure if he's coming in with any energy, it's not coming in the house with him.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then also to clear your energy and the baby's energy, just because it's so strong and it's a lot of anxiety, because I can
Yeah.
feel it. Take a little sea salt and water. That's
Mhm.
it. A little bit of a drop of maybe 3 drops of some vinegar, and just do a little spritz on
Yeah.
yourself, on your
Okay.
hair, the baby's hair, just to clear your energy a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, Take deep
Yeah.
breaths, right?
Yeah.
You're mom, and you're
I know.
strong. And
It's
as
a
a
lot.
mother, you have the ability to protect your children. You do.
I don't feel like I do. Like all of my rights have been taken from me.
You can take them back. Just
Yeah.
allow them that. You take back your energy. You command that you deserve to be safe and fulfilled and happy and at
Yeah.
peace. You have
Yeah.
to command it. You aren't to ask them for permission. You command that you have peace and serenity and safety for yourself and your children.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where's your court date? Is it today?
No, it's next month.
Next month?
But
Okay.
they're having a really hard time like coming up with a reason why I neglected my children because I did everything right. Like I took them to the hospital under the guides of CPS.
Yeah.
And then she told me to get an evaluation. So I got an evaluation and like I never did anything like without their permission.
Mhm.
And, I've been evaluated so many times and they can't find anything.
What was the initial reason why CPS came there?
Because I took my children to the hospital because of sexual abuse.
So you think he's touching your son
Yeah.
and your daughter?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so,
know.
I'm
It's a
so sorry.
lot.
I'm
It's a
sorry.
lot. It's a lot.
We need to find you somewhere to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
And
lot. And it's definitely like satanic what they're doing.
do you
So
do you know his mother and father? You know his
I
mom?
do. And it's weird because like, I don't know. His mom, like, I don't know, seems fine. His dad seems fine. But like we have a neighbor here and so we live in a duplex and I like heard them talking and I think she may be involved. And like I came to her like in secrecy and I was like, yeah, this is what's going on and I'm taking my kids and leaving. And she told my husband. And the cops also told my husband that I was at the domestic violence shelter, which they can't do that. And CPS also told
They're
him,
not supposed to disclose that.
yeah, they're not supposed to, but they did. So it's
You
like
have the
every step
energy.
I take is like 10 steps back.
Would you be willing to put like an evil eye on you and the babies just to give
Yeah,
you extra
yeah,
protection? Put a bracelet if you can get one, just a
okay,
bracelet for you, the babies, your son, your daughter, and yourself.
yeah,
It's
okay,
a mitigator of the energies of anything that's trying to harm you. Okay.
okay,
We need something to put on you to protect you. Salt water clearing, But the
Hmm.
fact that you as a mother think that he's doing that to your babies, you
Hmm.
have every right to be able to leave with your children safely.
You would think so.
Well, if the sex trafficking and trafficking in itself, they have a lot of control.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
they do. And we
Absolutely.
don't know what spiritual background he has. We don't know if he comes from a satanic background where
Yeah.
it sounds like he may be ritualistic. And I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't want to make that clause, but it
Right.
sounds like from what you're sharing with me, he's a problem.
Yeah.
And I want you safe. So what I need you to do also is to, if you can remember to do those things, just take a deep breath. I'm talking to you, you'll be fine, but you have to take your power back, mommy, for the
Yeah.
safety of your babies
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Okay.
Don't take
Yeah.
that deep breath and say, you got it. You do have it. And
Yeah.
you're O positive, so it means you're very strong.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I've been like targeted my entire life, and like
It's
I've had
something,
a lot of knowledge from watching your videos, so I'm just like super awake and I just, I'm targeted because of it.
I'm so sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry for you and the babies. But we can do what we can do, okay?
Yeah.
I need you to evil eye on you and the babies. Seal salt before he gets home. What time does he get home?
Like 4, 5.
Okay. Act like you're just regular. Don't be just what you normally do. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep the babies with you. And if there's any way that you could sleep in a room and block the doors at night with you and the children, at
Right.
least when you're sleeping, just for now, do
Yeah.
so. We can see if we can find a place. We have a lot of sea stars and guys on ground. So when you email me right when we get off, please do it right away.
Okay.
Let me know where you are so we can find and see if there's a place close by that can house you.
I'm just nervous because he probably does know that I'm doing this because he has like this whole place. Like,
What ranking does he have in the military? What was his
um,
ranking?
he was a sergeant, but yeah, he was demoted. But he was like 100% disabled for PTSD.
Did he
Um,
serve? Did he serve
yeah,
in the country?
yeah, he went to Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like any time that like I try to like plan or like, try to take my power back, he just kicks me out of the house
Without the children
without the children. Yeah. So
as a
I'm like, I have to
control.
stay in line and like, he's probably gonna kick me out.
No,
Again.
no, we don't say that. You're going to take control right now. You are
Yeah.
powerful and you're stronger than him. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember that. Just as a mother, you have more protection than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to know that even in your darkest times, close your eyes and say, I am powerful. I am protecting my family. I have the strength to overcome anything and everything coming against me. You have to say it to yourself.
Right.
I'm a mother. I know what you're going through in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
Don't concede. Just keep that in you. Get
Right.
the evil eyes. But the one thing you can do right now is with the sea salt, seal your doors.
Okay.
Coming in, he has anything attached to him, it isn't going to be able to, salt is a disinfectant. It kind of is like a barrier.
Okay.
Okay. And then also at night tonight, plan to sleep in a room and see how you can create a barrier. And just,
Right. I've tried everything. I've put like nose plugs in and I've put like things like a mask on and like he has because I found something in the basement. It was like a duffel bag with all of these rags that had like this substance on it, and it was like a map with zip ties.
he could be
Yeah,
a psychopath, mama.
yeah, he is. He is definitely. So
Okay.
I've tried everything. Like
Can you, and also, I don't know how you feel, but if your family feels like just rather than saying what he's doing, if they feel a little bit, is there any way that you could stay with one of them for a moment? Just say, hey, I just need a break a little bit. Me,
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure I can, but I can't bring the kids because he'll just call the police, and then the police will be like, "Yeah, you can't have the
you as a
kid."
mother can leave with your children, especially if he's accused of raping the children.
Right. Well, because I, took them to
You're
the
under
hospital, to
investigation.
the police, so CPS went to court without me knowing and got a restraining order against me
Restraining order from who to who?
from CPS to me. So from my kids to me, so I can't legally be around my children.
But you're around your children now.
Yeah.
How could they do that? So why would they let you keep your children if they have a restraining order?
I think it's like, well, because no one really knows that, like, we're continuing to do this.
So they don't know you're with your children?
No, no, they don't. Yeah.
Why would they put a restraining order? Do they think you're hurting your children?
No, they said that like my mental health, that because of the reports that I made and like what I said to the police about like the things that I found in my home, like the duffel bag and all of that, they're
Mhm.
like, well, she doesn't sound right.
They think you're
So
mentally ill.
yeah, yes, they do. And I like I said, I've been evaluated 4 times. So they're having like a really hard time proving that. So I
Are
have
you,
like 30 days left on that. But I feel like really the restraining order was like a way to keep me like here and to keep me from doing anything about the abuse that's going on.
are you having dreams at night?
Dreams, sometimes,
You're not
but they're
dreaming very much?
no. If I do, it's like super vivid dreams.
Do you speak to your mom? Your mom? Can you speak to her?
Yeah.
Are you close to her? No?
Yeah, but she's on my husband's side. She's on his side.
The key is to get you out of the house
Yeah.
to somewhere safe.
Right.
Um, and I think if you talk to your mom and just say, I just need a break, mommy. I need the babies here with me so I feel safe. And just tell her that I really feel like I just need a break from my husband. And if you tell her that you think he's raping his children, you don't
Right.
think she would think about that?
Yeah, you would think so, but I think she's just like because of how many times like I've tried to get help for my children and like no one will listen to me. So, and it's super weird because this area they have like 6 synagogues and they have 6 Masonic temples in this small, like in Buffalo. You could look at the map and they're
You're
all,
in a you're in a you're in a town that has that many
yes,
minorities?
yes, it has more synagogues. It's the only place in America besides Israel that has that many synagogues.
Oh, you're in a nest.
Yes, and if you look at the map in this area, the synagogues are like lined up with the tunnels because we have a lot of tunnels in this area and we have a mine like right in our backyard. I'm not shitting you. It's like real shit. It's real shit. Sorry. I'm sorry for
No,
swearing.
no, you're fine. You're fine.
It's yeah.
I'm sorry
Yes.
for
Look at
it.
the map of this area. It is a nest. It's a nest. And
Okay,
he
I
works for,
just presume, yeah, and I also presume because you're in a nest, everybody, all the CPS is in on it,
yep.
cops are in on it.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Definitely. And like my husband's white and
So they'll believe him over you.
yeah.
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Usually, for those who don't know, like a lot of times, if a brown woman, doesn't matter Spanish or a brown woman is married to a lunar man, if there's any domestic thing going on, they will 90% side with the lunar man.
Yeah.
They do it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a deep breath because we're talking about what's going on. We need you to be
Yes.
protected and we need you to be safe. Are you ready for that?
Yeah,
Are you
absolutely.
are
I've
you
been
ready for what it takes for you to do this?
yeah, definitely.
Okay. So I need you because I don't know what time it is by you. What time is it by you?
Um, it is 3 o'clock right
So
now.
he's going to be home in an hour.
Yeah.
I
And
need
I'm
you
sure
to
he knows that I'm talking.
it is what it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's documented now. So if he does anything, and we're gonna let him know that if you do anything to her and those children, we have it documented what she just told us. So anything that happens to you, he's going to be linked to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually a precautionary protection for you right now.
Yeah.
Okay?
I
So
think
what I
that's
need
why
you
I
to
was
do,
guided here.
yes, what I need you to do is seal your doors. Okay,
Okay.
act like nothing happens. Even if he listened, he's going to
Right.
act like he didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to create the room and space with the children tonight where
Yeah.
you can see if you can block the doors at night. Okay.
Right.
And just tell them, I just want to sleep with the children tonight, whatever you have to do to sleep in
Right.
there at night with the babies. Okay. I need you to make sure you spray yourself with a little sea salt, the babies, a little sea salt, a little bit of vinegar, just spray yourself, clean your auric field because you're
Right.
stressed and you haven't, of course you should be. And I'm
Right.
so sorry this is happening to you and the babies.
I
I'm
never would
sorry.
imagine like in all my years of like research, because I've always had my eyes open to things that were going on in this world. And what
Yeah.
are the chances I end up in something like this, you
Well,
know?
when you're special, they bring people to you like handlers and agents. They do. They do.
Right.
And
Yeah,
when we have a certain
definitely.
amount,
Look at the area, Buffalo.
oh no, it's absolutely, I've never even heard of anything like that. That's insane.
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't know either. I just happened to look on the map and I was like, wow, there are that many synagogues.
that's not good.
Yes.
That's not good because
Yes.
it's linked to the Masonic lounges.
Yeah. Hmm.
So what we need you to do is that I'm going to talk to you when you email me and see if we have people in the area to find a place. We'll keep that
Yeah.
private. Also for anyone on here, please save the video. Can everyone save the video for me, please? Can people upload the videos, please, for anyone who's on here? So that we keep it in case they try to stop the video from being shown, so that we keep it for Shelby. Okay? Um, it's a very powerful time, okay? And also, I want you to do this now because on the 22nd, March 22nd is the Masons, it's the Skull and Bones time. That's when they
Oh
do
no.
major rituals, and on the 21st is a 33. So it's a
Oh,
33.
great.
So
Yeah,
I
we have
need,
a 32nd degree lodge right down the road.
okay. So I need you to be really impactful. If you can go to it's you're with the baby right now. Do you have any like magical stores by you? You know, like little, what do you call those stores? Like
Right.
botanicas or anything? I don't know if I
Yeah.
want you to leave the house now, but if you can, I would go get the bracelets now. If you
Yeah.
can. If you
Okay.
can. If you can't, just do the other things. We want to
Okay.
do what you can do, but the bracelet, it's a mitigator, mama. It
Right.
helps. I think
Okay.
every woman should have that. If you can get an evil eye and just, or print it out and put it in your brassiere and have
Okay.
it on the babies or put it on the door and put it on the door that you plan to sleep in with the children on the
Okay.
outside of the door.
I'm
If
gonna
you
do
said you're
that.
crazy, just say the crazy lady online suggested it. So it's on.
Right.
Okay? Say the crazy
Yeah, he
lady
does.
online.
He knows about you too, and he does not like me watching you.
Oh, of course not. They
Yeah,
never do.
he does not
Okay,
like you at all.
sir. Sir, of course he doesn't want you watching me because ultimately I will give you advice that won't allow you to be hurt and your babies to be safe.
Right.
Okay. So that's a good sign he doesn't like me. If he liked me, I'd be concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Right.
not a good sign. Okay. So
Thank
let's
you.
get you
I
into the thing.
appreciate it.
See if you can find a metaphysical physical store before he gets home. If you could do it, it's like $5, $10 most.
Right.
Get one for you, yourself, and the babies. I need you to get peace, right? You do not discuss it. This
Right.
is about the safety of your children.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Make sure as soon as you get off here, go to my email, just put where you are. I'm not going to disclose. I promise you, I will not
Okay.
disclose your personal whereabouts. That isn't what I do. It's not what I recommend. I want your babies to be safe. Oh, she's
Thank
safe.
you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Just send good energy my way. It's been a
Absolutely.
long road.
I know, Mama, and I'm so sorry. And you have this. I'm not going to do it for you. You're going to do it for you. You
Thank
understand?
you.
And
Thank you.
this will be your badge of honor. You're going to get out
Thank
of this,
you.
going to be safe. Okay. But let's do this. So log off here, go email me what I
Okay.
need. Seal the doors. And if you can, if you're tired, don't worry about it. But if you can, go get the bracelets.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you, FleurBrun.
Be
I
safe,
love you.
Mama. You'll be fine. I love you too. And you'll be fine. And I'll follow up. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
The baby. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Everyone send some love and protection to Shelby, please. Please send some love, beautiful energy to her. Bubble her and the babies. Okay. We're going to see what we can do on our end. This is absolutely horrific. And for all those who don't know, there's a ritualistic day on 3/22, which is Skull and Bones Day. And the 21st is 33, the day before. Let's send some beautiful energy to her. We want to protect the babies. We are a channel that is for the women and children in here, families. And anything I can do, I'm going to make sure I do for her. Okay. Send that. Anyone in Buffalo, anybody in Buffalo, New York, please send me your email. If you can email me, if you're living in upstate New York, either Rochester or Buffalo, anybody who lives up there, please send me information on if you know of any places that take women and children. I would appreciate if you send that to me. Okay. Um, so just let me know. Oh, this is just heartbreaking. I'm so sorry for her and the babies. It's just we're in those times, y'all, and sex trafficking and trafficking is very real. And there are a lot of towns that are I don't know if you watched the movie with what's her name? What is it called? Rosemary's Baby, when everybody was a Satanist. Everybody around her was a Satanist. You think it's not real. This is very real. We're living around some diabolical dark beings who do these things and harm people, and they'll do it to their own offspring because it was done to them. So I'm going to end this. I want to go and do some stuff and some research for her and her behalf. Please send some positive energies, everyone. Please just really send it out strong. Okay. Just positive thoughts to her and the babies. Just envision her in light and in a golden purple light, please. All right. So I'm going to go. Thank you for everyone coming on Zoom. Thank you again. Be the change you want to see in the world. And let's make a difference for at least one mother and her children. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Trying to end the live, y'all. Sorry. Sorry, y'all.